Good morning, Michael.Yon from Chiang Mai, Thailand. It is March 18th at 9:19 in the morning here in Chiang Mai. That means it's about 10:19 in Washington, D.C. Lots of things going on, as you can imagine, around the world with the virus. A lot of us, including me, shifted everything that we were doing in January to pay attention to this pandemic that was, many people didn't realize it was a pandemic until like 15 minutes ago. But others started to realize it in January. A lot more started to catch on by late February. And by now, most people seem to have caught on, although some are still calling it the flu. That's sort of like Monty Python. Bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet. It's only the flu. All righty then. You'll soon be dead. All right. But most of us won't. Most of us are going to march right on. Now, a lot of things to talk about, some very important things. First, get to your hard points. I've been saying that for a while. I've been saying it in different ways since January, actually. Go to where you feel safest and most comfortable that you'll be able to ride this thing out. And how long will the ride be? I would count on an absolute minimum of 4 months in one way or another. I would count on a minimum of 4 months. If it's less than that, then that's so much better. Hello in Australia. Hello in the Seattle area. And Oregon schools closed to the April 28th. I'll bet you 100 coffees they'll be closed a lot longer than April 28th. You can bet your last dollar on that one. All right. Even the Canadian Prime Minister, in all his wisdom, has told Canadians, and he got real somber about it, like he was about to cry or something, Canadians, it's time to come home. We got some maple syrup waiting for you with some, I can't believe it's butter. So, go up to Canada, make sure get some warm pancakes. Everybody needs to get to where you want to go. I've been saying it for a long time. This is that time. Some people watching this probably will not make it home. If you're not home yet, some people actually are not going to make it if you have to make an international flight. And others may still make it. And this includes within various countries, whether that's in different European countries or also possibly here in Thailand, but also within the United States. You should count on things will start to shut down. I've been saying this for a while. Now things are shutting down. Remember, I've been saying for a long time, we should ground all flights, ground all incoming for starters and outgoing. And then within the United States, everything should be on the ground. Amtrak should stop running. Buses should stop running. This is a tough balance because the economy is going to get smashed, period. It already is. In fact, Monday was the worst day for the United States for the global capital market since October 1929. And, that was the kickoff of the Great Depression, which some of our grandparents remember quite well. And that's why they were always picking up, rusty nails and stuff to keep in little coffee cans and never throwing anything away. And I actually have some of that. I actually will keep things that I think could be of use later, which can be a problem, of course, because you have to store those somewhere. I hope you've watched me before. Let's see. Hello, Weishan. Was some kind of Facebook blitz on coronavirus related friends reported news articles and links they posted all getting removed for community standards violations. I would not doubt that. North Carolina. Let's see, Jesse. I wouldn't doubt that that I'm going to start getting blocked off of YouTube or Facebook or so. Do this. Go to my various pages and for instance, go to my YouTube page, which is here, and sign up for that. Click the bell. The video's better there anyway. And also go to there's my. Can you see it up here? Go to that. Michael.Yon, war correspondent and cannibal hunter, on the top with the 3.7 thousand visitors. It's pretty new, so it's not got too many on there. Not these other ones. These are my pages too, but I don't like them. I want to get rid of them. And for some reason, I ended up with 3 pages, and it's a mystery to us how we ended up with those when we only want one, and we can't consolidate them. YouTube's not letting us consolidate. So go to this one. Click the it says live now. You see there, hit the subscribe here on the upper right and click that bell right there. See that bell? Click it and click all. And then you'll get the all notifications. Now let's continue on. Again, it's time to go to your hard points. Get home and let's talk about a few things. Here's the latest from, let's see. I hope you're seeing the Johns Hopkins map here. Let me go back to the main page and I'll look at comments very quickly. Let me see here. Still having little problems here and there. Actually, I had a big problem last night with this live streaming software, and I had to work with them for a while to get it resolved. Let's see here. Alrighty. Let's see. All right. You don't see the map. Yeah, China is clearly lying about the numbers, but let's talk about a few other things. If you don't see, do you see me or do you see the map? There he goes again. Yep. Here we go. So even though I've practiced with this thing. All right. So let's talk about supplies. If you don't see the map, we'll talk about the supplies. You all call it Wu flu. Kathy Klein says, Keen says, I call it Xi's disease or Wuhan virus. President Trump has just started calling it China virus, which has really angered a lot of people, including some Americans and others who are very sensitive. It has not angered me at all. In fact, I wish he would have started calling it that a long time ago. And because China is already blaming this on the United States, and they'll blame it on Japan too. This is what they always do. They always blame Japan, and they always blame the United States. And I love how Trump has stood up to them and started calling it the China virus. I just love it. Very big. I wish he would even up it a little more and call it Xi's disease. That's what I've been calling it since January. It's Xi's disease. And it is I know his people know that I call it Xi's disease. Maybe that's why he started calling it China virus. I don't know. But but Xi's disease is the best. It's that's the next escalation on this. But yeah, exactly. Don Sakuda says that's exactly how I believe. Let me tell you what I care about the Chinese communist feelings. They always hit us with their feelings, and that works with some people. Oh, you're going to hurt our feelings. That works with some people. It does not work with people like me. We're like, you can take your little old feelings and go to the Golden Gate Bridge and cry your bloody tears right off that bridge. You know, just cry. I'm not saying jump off of it, but just cry and let your tears drop into the water and be washed out to sea with your sorrows, right? So we don't care about your hurt feelings. All right, let's see. Hello, U.S. Navy gunner, Wu flu. All right, so now food shortages are not really here yet. I do believe there will end up with famines at some point within the United States. I don't know about that. But globally, certainly there'll be famines here and there. Where exactly they'll all be, I don't know. But remember in January, I've studied these things for so long. So to me, it's like, okay, this happens, then this is going to happen because it always happens. You know, there will start to be some famines somewhere. And China is a possible problem with that. And also many other places yet to be seen. But there probably will be famines, probably not within the United States, but there will be supply problems, even though there are not yet. Now, I've been warning all my Thai friends and others, and in my Hong Konger friends and my Taiwanese friends and my Japanese friends, go out and get your stuff now, right? Get it now. Already now, rice prices are going up in Thailand, right? Now, if you bought when I told you to buy, you would have bought it real cheap like I did. I got, already had stock, but I just plussed up my stock and I got it really cheap. I got it at the normal prices. I didn't have to pay extra prices because now a lot of Thai, there's some countries, for instance, Malaysia and Indonesia and China, they're trying to plus up their inventories. So they're buying food supplies around the world. And so they're trying to get their warehouses full of food now. So that's going to cause people's prices to rise in different places, right? You see where this comes, right? So you must expect famines are going to come in some places. Probably not within the United States unless there's a dramatic change. But there will be shortages in the United States. I'll bet you with 99% certainty there will be shortages of many, many things, including pharmaceuticals. There'll be shortages of many things. I won't try to guess specifically which items, but there'll be a lot of shortages. Now, restaurants and bars and all that are being closed across the United States. This obviously is terrible for our friends in the restaurant business and various other businesses like that. However, it can be, this is a moment of opportunity for a lot of people too. Don't let here's a chance that we can help out all of each other. How many restaurants are there across the United States? I don't know. It must 100,000. I don't know. It's a lot, right? There's a lot of restaurants, cafes, bars, add them all up. They got a lot of inventory. Go to your some restaurant down the street and say, hey, you got some inventory you want to sell me? This will help them out. Give them some cash so their inventory doesn't go bad. And then you might get this big old hunk of pastrami or something. You know what I mean? Still vacuum packed. Go to the deli. I used to work in a deli when I was a teenager. They got all this great stuff in there, man. I would have gone straight to Mama Dilo's Deli in Winter Haven, Florida, and I'd be like, hey, Ed or Pete, whoever's running it now, Ernie probably, I don't know. Ernie, you still there? I'd be like, hey, man, I want whatever you got, whatever you'll sell me. Give me some of that Gouda cheese. Give me some of that. I used to eat that Gouda cheese all the time. They let me eat all I wanted to eat when I was making sandwiches, and I ate a lot. I'm drinking milk for vitamin D. All right. Now, that's a good opportunity to help out everybody that's going to be stuck with inventory. All these restaurants, go to, restaurants that might be in hotels, go to bars, whatever. Ask them, what kind of food do you got that you want to sell me? And then you don't have to stand in line at the grocery store, and maybe you'll get some much better prices on your food. And that's got to be a lot of food out there stuck in all these restaurants, refrigerators and up on their shelves and whatnot. Toilet paper shortages. I don't care about that, man. Everybody will be fine with that toilet paper. Now, but let's talk about that. These toilet paper shortages and all that, whatever. That's nothing. This is pregame stuff. This is like the pregame little firework that goes off. In these lines that we've seen in Publix and Kroger shelves and Walmart and Costco and all that getting blown out at times. This is pregame stuff. We're not into the shortages yet. I've had people sending me stuff offline saying, look, I work in logistics. I do this. Our warehouses are completely full. I get it. I completely get it. I realize your warehouses are full, and I realize that Amazon now is about to trying to hire 100,000 people. That's great. However, we're not in the big game yet. The big game has not come yet. The big game comes when there are true shortages. That's when your warehouses are actually empty, or people just don't have the money to buy it because they're out of work. Many, many, many reasons, right? Or in some places, I'm sure stores will start to be looted. We can probably figure out where those places will be. And then they'll just close, period. And then people in those neighborhoods and there's parts of America, especially in places where people have had huge riots in the past. And those riots may have been 2 generations ago, but the stores have never come back. Not the big ones. So people have to drive very far to get their food. This will lead to social unrest in a big, big way. So definitely go to your hard points. If you're not there yet, you are way behind the curve. And anybody that's calling this the flu, absolutely block them. There's still some actually some educated people still doing that. They're block them. We don't have time for them. And so other issues here, and we're going to take as many questions as we can get. This is where Brian Kofage's wall and all his supporters, 250,000 supporters, come into play down because, South America, some of those major countries are going to get smashed harder than anybody, and they don't have fat reserves, right? Literally and figuratively. They don't have, and a lot of these could come up through Mexico. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but we need to be prepared for this. We also need to be prepared not for just a recession. I think people are still trying to glad hand that this will be more than a recession. Again, Monday was the worst day for global capital markets since 1929. The Great Depression kicked off then. I see people like Chris Martinson and Steve Bannon now getting as worked up as I am, actually, insulting people, which I passed that mark a while back. But there's a few people that were really ahead of the curve and sticking their necks out. That was like Chris Martinson. Now Chris Martinson has stuck his neck out so far and been so accurate on this that when he's giving financial advice, I think he might be good to listen to. This is one of the ways I've learned to find good sources in the past is like, for instance, when I'm off in wars, you'll see how people report, and then you realize who's actually a good reporter and who's not. And so famines, again, be prepared. You can still stock up. We've had the toilet paper runs. That's nonsense for the really dim-witted. And then we've got, the fights in the aisles and somebody getting smashed with a bottle or whatever shot, and all this sort of stuff. But that is part of life, and it's not going to be undone, right? But now we will get, we've seen the food already blown out, but we still have great supplies in most countries still around the world. For instance, especially like United States and Thailand and, Japan, obviously still have great supplies. But again, as the economy dwindles, this is going to change. You need to stock up now. I've been saying for a long time, the absolute minimum I would keep in my storage would be 1 month. I really would highly recommend, if you've got the budget, 4 months, and that would be par level. You know what I mean by par level? That would be your, like, at this level we kick to a different mode. So I would have, if you can afford it, 4 months supply. And even that, I think, would be par level. A month level is like emergency level. You can just count. It depends on where you live, though. I mean, if you're in an Amish community, and these people that make fun of Amish not having electricity and all this stuff, riding around on horses and all that because this, that, or the other. Well, guess what? Guess who doesn't have to worry about this? All right, that's right, Amish. And so, like Linda John says, time for a home garden. The more people that make even a little bit of their own food, the better. Now, the virus obviously is just one part of this. So there's only so much that, studying epidemiology is going to do for you, but it's important to definitely get a working knowledge of it. So that we know what the, trans R naught number is and all that. And or some will say R aught, or just say transmissibility, right? Also and various other factors. For instance, that there may be a second wave that's much, much worse, and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things that are important to know about. However, that's just one part of this. Remember, like the earthquake that hits Japan, which makes the tsunami, which hits the Fukushima, which causes the power to go down, which causes heat to build up, which causes pressure to build up, which causes an explosion, and radiation gets released, and economic disaster and ecological disaster and human disaster. So it's like bang, 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 bang. And it lasts for years. It's still going on. And it's not going to end, not in our lifetimes. So, I mean, that earthquake that led to those other things. Likewise with this virus, it's leading to many other things. It's already led, it's there, into financial distress, and it's going to lead to a lot more severe financial distress for most of us, except for those, for instance, that may be getting who are these airlines that are getting bailouts? Why are they getting bailouts? They got plenty of. Tell them to sell stock. That's why they have many of these airlines. Listen to, like, for instance, Chris Martin on Peak Prosperity. Many of them own so much stock. The airlines own it. Sell your stock. Why should Americans be bailing you out? It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's get down to. We'll start answering a few questions here, because I'm just saying I watch this 24/7 when I'm awake. Right, this is what I do. But in the gist of it is, this is it. We're on it. We're not going to hit the peak. Will hit across different countries and different parts of different countries at different times. For instance, in northern Italy, where there was a lot of Chinese up there due to them buying out so much of the various businesses up there, this might be why it spread to Iran and Italy so quickly, or northern Italy in particular, because Chinese do a lot of business in those two places. That might be why. But now notice in southern Italy, see, for instance, all of Italy is not peaking at once. And all these countries are having the squirter problem. For instance, in Wuhan, but when they announced, hey, we're going to do a lockdown, a lot of people squirted out to the rest of China, and they came here to Thailand, and they went to Indonesia, and they went to Australia and America. They squirted, right? And so, and they left, and a lot of them took the virus with them, right? And likewise in Italy, it caused a lot of problems with the Southerners in Italy. Like, why are you bringing your virus here? I mean, we're all Italians, though. The Northerners, I'm sure, were probably saying, I don't know, I wasn't there. But and so the hospitals have been overwhelmed in Italy. It's going to happen in the United States. It's going to happen in Thailand. It's going to happen in most countries. There are a few that are behaving very wisely. That would be, for instance, Thailand. Not Thailand. I'm sorry. South Korea, Taiwan, then Hong Kong, which I'll call a country. It's not technically, of course, yet, and Singapore. I mean, these countries have done well. Countries that have utterly failed would obviously be Iran, United Kingdom, Italy, Spain, Germany, France, United States in a big way, Canada, long list, Denmark, Norway, all failed in big, massive ways. And so we're going to see what befalls. And so, right, let's go down to the bottom, and I'm going actually right down to the bottom to look at some pages here. Jared Hirschkorn is saying, and I predict, this is from July 6, 2018 from Peak Prosperity, and I predict it will be a sudden spike in the price of oil. That will be the pin that central bank enabled bubbles absolutely cannot grow beyond. Actually, that's another problem that we have, is that Saudi Arabia and Russia are having a fight on oil prices, which is obviously, this is a kind of a bad time to have that. And so for us and many others, but the United States must support we need to bring as much back into the United States as possible. Pharmaceuticals, forget it. All that needs to come back from China. China is probably going to end up having a famine. That's how I'm sensing it at this point. And I don't know what regions or any of that. I'm not tracking it on that level of granularity. But I do believe that certainly China is going to have some limited famine at minimum, as are many other countries. And so this is going to cause many other problems and potentially a lot of civil wars and civil unrest in various countries. Now, drink your milk. Vitamin D. However you get it. I've also bought a bunch of salmon and, sardines, so I don't have a milk mustache. And various other fish that have a lot of vitamin D. Get out in the sunlight, take a walk every day in the sun. It's very good for you. It can help you fight this back. And so that you're strong when you get it, because most of us are probably going to get it. And most of us will survive if all the information that's happening now is accurate. Take your temperature. For instance, I've been taking my baseline temperature. But if you don't have a thermometer, make sure you have it and write down your baseline temperature. You might need it. A friend of mine, she has been sending me messages that she almost certainly has it and has caused a huge quarantine. For instance, it's epic. But I want to talk with her on the phone more about it. She might be watching right now. I met her in Hong Kong, but she's American, and I'm not going to say her name unless she wants to say it. But if she wants to say it, maybe, I don't know, maybe we can get her on live actually and let her tell her story. And, yeah, Zerion says, as an Asian, I don't understand why Westerners are ashamed of wearing masks. I'm not. I'm pretty shameless. I'm into survival. I'm into not dying. I'll chase cannibals. I'll go to wars, all that stuff. But I'll wear my mask. I think people that aren't wearing masks are quite stupid, actually, at this point. To put it in layman's terms. I mean, this is just, these are like those people that there's a Category 5 hurricane coming, and they're like in a wooden house, and they're like, let's have a hurricane party. And then they're like gone when it's finished. They're like, oh, bye. It's so long, sucker. You know what I mean? It's like, you at the shallow end of the gene pole, jump out of it. All right. Now, interestingly, let's talk about, I'm going to start answering questions as best I can. But let's talk about vaccine that everybody keeps talking about. There's not going to be a vaccine, okay? There's not going to be here. Not anytime soon. You keep seeing people, even some medical experts are coming. Remember, these are some of our medical experts told us that wearing masks it can be counterproductive. This is like even the Surgeon General, our Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, in his Navy uniform in front of the White House, has been saying, not to wear masks. Seriously, it's because our country did not stockpile masks. And now I see people going, don't worry, the United States has stockpiled tons and tons and tons and gazillions of tons of food. Did we? Do you know? Have you taken inventory? Because just 2 months ago, we would probably say, sure, we probably got billions of masks stockpiled because we've known for generations that we're going to get hit with a pandemic. We know it's coming because it just is. Like, a hurricane is going to hit Florida again at some point. I don't know when. It could be this year, that maybe they'll all miss this year, but a pandemic is definitely coming, and another one will come in the future. And yet our United States government, that's supposed to be so brilliant, did not stockpile masks. And then they doubled down on failure and stupidity by telling people that wearing masks can be counterproductive and actually lead to more infections. You can't even make this stuff up. History will not judge these experts kindly. When we find out, and people are going to blame it on President Trump or whatever, but in reality, we didn't have these masks under Obama or Bush or Clinton, or go right on back down the line through Nixon and all the way back through World War II. Where are our masks? You know what I'm saying? Did somebody throw them away? Did we ever have them? So are you really sure that we have a strategic food stockpile? Because I'm not. I'm not so sure of that. I think that's a silly assumption, actually. Unless you've been out, I've read about stuff like that before, but quite frankly, at this point, I'm in somewhat of disbelief, actually. These pork stockpiles and all this that we're supposed to have. Do we really have them? I mean, I've read about them. I've been told, like a friend at the State Department was telling me all about them about a month ago. I was like, well, I don't believe you. I don't believe you at this point. I don't believe you unless individual auditors, and I mean take 20 reporters and I want them all over the spectrum, left wing, right wing, no wing, all the wing. I want bloggers. I want I want people out there with cameras. I want them going to our strategic warehouses on big, 20 or 30 of them at a time, not one or two or three or four that you can hand select, but so that we know that somebody's going to spill the beans if something's wrong. I want to know what we really do have stockpiled in the United States, because I don't believe you anymore. I don't believe the United States government, period. I want President Trump to come out and say, to open up the warehouses and let people see what we have or don't have. Right. Bellows says, you own in a company that has made the vaccine, but they said not for people until the 3rd month of 2021. I wouldn't count on that at all. Let's talk about vaccines for a minute. Again, there's some things you don't need to be an expert about to actually have an opinion that's, actually got some weight to it. For instance, we don't have a vaccine for AIDS. 39 million people are said to have died from AIDS. There is no vaccine for it. There's no vaccine for the first SARS. This is the second SARS, right? There's no vaccine for the first SARS. So what makes people think that just throwing a bunch more money into it? Here's something that that some of our medical experts have been saying, like Fauci, right? Dr. Fauci, he's been saying, maybe 12 to 18 months. I'm saying bullshit, absolute bullshit. I think that they're saying this to give people a feel-good moment. I'm not into feel-good. I want accurate information. Now, I understand that it's important for some people to go, oh, we got to make them feel good or they'll panic, right? I get it. But the sort of people that will listen to my work or read my work, this is a no bullshit zone. And if it makes people uncomfortable, then then actually should not be looking at my work, because if I see something that's off, and even if it's going to make people very uncomfortable, like the Iraq Civil War or the Taliban growing power in 2006 and these sorts of things that I published well in advance, and so many others that can be life-saving if heeded. And so many people, as you'll see, come on my comments now and are saying that that they've stocked up already because they've been watching my work for so long. But let's go back to the vaccine fallacy. Fauci is saying 12 to 18 months. Okay, let's say there is a vaccine in 12 to 18 months. Let's say 12. That would be magical timing, right? President Trump says even sooner, possibly. And then Scott Adams, Scott Adams, I like to watch him sometimes, but even he can engage in logical fallacies, which is kind of amazing because he likes to sell himself as this pristine, crystal clear thinker. But occasionally he makes mistakes too. He did a split the difference fallacy yesterday. He's like, well, Fauci said 12 to 18 months. President Trump said a lot less. And then Scott Adams goes, so I'll just put it somewhere in the middle. That's called split. That's a logical fallacy. That's not how the world works. It's like, it doesn't work like that. And okay, let's just say that there is a vaccine today. Okay, here's the vaccine. Here's a vial of it, and I've got all the formulas and everything, and here's all the stuff. I got all the precursors and chemicals and whatever else you need to make it. And all the machines. I got them right here, right? Say I got enough to make them. So we start chunking them out, right? How long does it take to produce enough of these and distribute these without even any human trials? We'll talk about rolling the dice. By the time we can possibly do that, this will have peaked at least a couple times. You know what I mean? We'll be way past the second wave if there's a second wave. You know what I mean? We're not going to make it in time. This is like trying to say, okay, we're going to invent some body armor real quick, and then we're going to put it on because he just shot a bullet. I'm sorry, dude. It's way too late to order the body armor. Even if it was sitting at your feet, you're not going to get it put on time. There is not going to be a happy, make me feel good vaccine in time. And the reason I'm saying it like this is because when I talk with people or I watch what they're saying online, the messages that they're sending me, they're like, oh, we'll have a vaccine soon and it'll all be good. So why would I need to stockpile? They'll have a vaccine soon. I'm like, no, there will not be a vaccine soon, period. It will not be here. There is no historical precedent whatsoever that will be a vaccine here. And even if there was a vaccine, it doesn't matter how many billions of dollars they put into it. Even if there was a vaccine, how quickly can they make it and distribute it? And that's beyond, you don't need medical expertise. That's logistics. That's business. That's factories working and flying it out and putting it in people's arms or however we're going to administer it, right? It's just not going to work that way. So, yeah, the split the difference fallacy is just not there. Yeah, let's try to take some questions. Yeah, that's him, Don. The split the Scott Adams, he says a lot of smart things. He's a pretty smart guy. It's kind of surprising to see him do a total split the difference logical fallacy. That's just not how it works. My childhood friend Ward Smith says there is a potential vaccine in phase 1 trials, but there is zero data that it is effective, and they won't know much until the conclusion of phase 2 trials. Then they have to complete phase 3 trials. Then if FDA approves, they can begin production. Okay, that's the United States, because other countries can do what they want to do. China can just like, oh, we invented it, go shoot it up into people, right? They don't have to test anything, or they can test it on prisoners or whatever. But the United States obviously has to go through our FDA and that sort of thing. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. But what I am saying is the idea that we're going to have a sudden vaccine and this is going to be fixed is simply false. And there is no way around it. That is completely false. Anybody that's saying that we're going to have a vaccine this year and it's going to suddenly solve everything is just wrong. Even if they're a doctor, even if they got a whole wall of PhDs behind them, it's not going to work like that. It doesn't make even any. There's a good book I read many years ago called Innumeracy. It's a good book. If you're homeschooling your kids now, maybe you want to buy the book called Innumeracy and read it, as homeschooling. It's one of those things where numbers just don't make sense. This doesn't add up, does not compute, doesn't even pass even the vaguest bullshit test. That even if we had the vaccine, there is no way it's going to get out there in time. Now, China has kicked out more journalists. They're kicking out Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and they kicked me out, of course, on February 5th. Not from China, but this time Hong Kong. And so, yeah, when I went back to Hong Kong, they denied me entry. You can see it was in Time magazine. And and many other places. Anyway, I got kicked out as well. And I thought that I might actually. And actually, I had said that publicly a few times. I was like, I don't know if they're going to let me back in. And many people are like, oh, sure they will. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm paying attention to the Hong Kongers. And you can see that, like, for instance, in one of my last phone calls, or before I went back to Hong Kong on February 5th, to John Batchelor on the phone, I was like, I don't think they're going to let me back in, but I don't know. I'm going to go for it. And he's like, oh, they'll let you in. I was like, I don't think they will. Anyway, I love going on the John Batchelor show. I was on it again on Monday night with Gordon Chang. Yeah, the pie in the sky vaccines are not going to happen in time. There's not going to be a vaccine in months, period. Period. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. Or let's say magically, if it were there, magically, it would not be distributed in time. It's just not, the math doesn't work right. The United States, we're going to start having massive peaks here in April and May, especially probably May, and then other parts of America a little later as it works its way across. It's starting to look, a lot of people too, they're like pinning their hopes on the heat will knock her down. We don't know that because not all viruses like this do respond like that to summertime. Some don't have seasonality. Listen to the epidemiologist, and some do. This one may not. It's starting to look like it might not. We'll see. I mean, there's not, the scientists are struggling. This idea that we can just pump $8.3 billion or whatever, and all the smartest minds in the world are working on it. They are. But how long have how many billions of dollars have we put into cancer research since, I don't know, 1492? I mean, how much money and effort has been put into curing cancer? A lot. I mean, it's got to be $1 trillion probably. I don't even know. If you added up all the countries in the world over all the many generations, it's going to be some huge amount has been put into curing cancer, and the smartest brains in the world and all these sorts of things. And cancer is still very much a reality. And there's no sign that it's going to be gone soon. That's cancer. So this idea that we got this Manhattan Project going and we're just going to put our muscles behind it and fix it all right on quick. We're not going to. Or let's put it this way. That's a bad plan to base your plan on that. You need to base your plan on reality. Reality is stock up, be prepared. We're on our own. We have to distribute accurate information on our own and guard against, filter out letting nonsense creep out there, no matter who it's from. And especially don't let it come out of our mouth. Don't let anything that we're not sure about creep out of our mouth. For instance, people talking about we're going to instantly have a vaccine. We're just not. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay, Robert Anderson is saying, I'm not an expert, but from reports I have read that some who recovered have tested positive again. So I'd say it's a distinct possibility. It could be. It also, they're saying now what it could be is that they were still infected. It's not a new infection. They just never completely got over it to begin with. It may be the original strategy, right? Bill Cotton says hope is not a strategy. What did that astronaut say? What's his name? He was an American astronaut, and he talks about that. He talks about the thought process for mitigating risk, and he's like, we don't just basically light the fuse and let it rip, right? We think through everything that can happen, and we try to address every issue with really methodically, right? Of course, we're in war right now. We're in a wartime situation, so we can't do triple studies and peer review on everything and meta studies. We don't have time for that. Like how to make our own masks. There should be, instead of the Surgeon General coming out going, hey, mask could be bad for you, or don't wear a mask, and just covering up that it's because we don't have enough masks. Just come out and do a MacGyver TV show. Like, who is the smartest mask maker in the world? Who can come up with a mask the sort of mask that anybody can make that works, and have like a TV show on MacGyver stuff? This is a perfect opportunity for Hollywood to help save the day. MacGyver stuff, and have a panel of scientists and medical doctors and epidemiologists and everybody else, water scientists and all really smart people, and have people come on and like, okay, here's my mask made out of, air conditioning filters. I don't know, vacuum filters or whatever. And, and then do the study. How many vacuum filters are actually out there? How many can we actually make? Whatever, what materials can the average person actually make a mask out of that generally actually works? Of course, we're going to get past the virus part at some point. When will that be? A long time from now, because remember, this is just the first peak we're coming to. But then we're going to get into the economic issues more and more, and the political and probably civil unrest. And that's when I'll need to be back in the United States. Because if it really kicks off in the civil unrest, I'm coming home, because that would be like, wow, that's my homeland. And so, but that's where it would be very good to have these MacGyver shows where people are improvising ways to just collect your own water. There really could be power outages. This is not pie in the sky stuff. I see people saying there won't be any power outages. You don't know that. Pandemics have a history of making things like this happen. And so let's talk about that. The New York Times here. Can you see this New York Times article? I subscribe to the New York Times. Yes, I do. I know a lot of people hate that. Actually, the article that New York Times wrote about me was incredibly accurate. It was the most, there's only been a few articles, and there's been thousands of articles and whatnot written about me, but there's only been a handful that have been like utterly accurate, like good, bad, and ugly. And New York Times was one of those. There was only one word that I would, disagree with. They called me a journalist. And I don't disagree with that because I don't like journalists. That's not true. A lot of my friends are journalists. That's just not true. And there are a lot of great journalists out there. So can't cast them all into one pile. But I'm not a journalist. I'm a war correspondent. I'm other things. You could even argue that at times I'm a political analyst, and a very accurate one when it comes to, for instance, the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War and Japan-Korea relations that melted down last year that I called years in advance, or the issues in Hong Kong, so, on some level, even a political analyst. Let's go back to this New York Times article. But you see this. Can you see the article? And a writer. I'm definitely a writer. Don Sakuda. Let me see. Can you see this article? Here we go again with this. The article is saying that the New York Times is basically talking about future shortages and how this can ripple on. And it's basically what I've been saying. And what I've been saying, stock up now, because the prices are not going to get any cheaper. At the absolute best scenario, the prices will not increase. And who thinks that's going to happen in an environment of supply and demand? And who thinks it's real that the prices really are going to stay static, or that you're going to have the money to pay for them, or that the supplies will even get to you, so that you'll even have the opportunity to buy them? Yeah, I will answer questions. Here we go. Sorry, I was looking at my security. TJ Abrams, the military just came into Calgary and Alberta, Canada over this now. That's right, war correspondent. I'll give you the truth, Janet Long, as I can find it. Finding the truth is like panning for gold. Some days I go out there and I find a big hunk of truth, like a big hunk of burning gold, right? Except that's white. And other days, I'm out there for a week. I don't even get a piece of glitter, It's just a lot of hard work. Sometimes you're shoveling it out and you're finding all kinds of gold, truth. And other times it's just like a desert. You go for long periods without finding much that you actually will put your faith in. Mary Spangler is saying, a vacuum of HEPA filter attached to a coffee filter. Voila, mask. That's a good idea. And so I think that I'll come to Texas, Tommy Barrios. I've been thinking for a long time of moving to Texas, long time. And I want to live in Florida, but I want to live in Texas too. And the reason for Texas is, I love Texas, and also the border issues. I'm very serious about our border issues, and that's for many reasons. I love Texas. Actually, I love California. So many people hate California, but I don't love the government's terrible, but actually, I love California, and Californians. I found, I mean, there's those elements that are hard to, stomach, but then most Californians are actually really good people. I went to school to California twice. I'm not just making that up out of the blue. I went to school there twice. And I worked for Michael Jackson in California. I mean, I really have been all over California. I didn't just like go to San Francisco or Los Angeles. I've been all up and down highway, just everywhere from Yosemite to the deserts to just everywhere, where they put put your hands on the sidewalk and all that at Hollywood. I've been to all those places. I've been all over. In Western North Carolina, hello, Alan. I'll definitely come back there. I love Western North Carolina. And I'm not, like I've said before, I'm not even worried about Western North Carolina. Y'all are hillbillies. Y'all can take care of yourself. You're not going to be calling up, I need the government to come rescue me. You'll just be like, and when I say hillbillies, the way I mean it. I don't mean it like the way somebody somewhere else means it as an insult. I mean it as a serious compliment. That's why I'm not worried about y'all. Y'all can take care of yourself because you're still that sort of people. Yeah, I work for Michael Jackson, Jim Wish said, because they asked me to do security for him. But so, I can say hillbilly between people like us, because it's actually a compliment. But other people, they say it as not a compliment. But you know what they can do. They can just get on down the road. Yeah, let's see. Gene Morin says, yes, I consider myself California, having lived here for 10 years now in Bangkok, long time. California's great, man. It's just the government sucks. But people generally are quite not. Actually, even a lot of those left-wing lunatics, if you can get past that part, generally they actually got a lot of good parts to them. You know what I mean? I can actually put up with them on a lot of stuff and get along with them quite well, as long as we don't get into the political part where they're like open the borders or something. That's just insanity. That's utter insanity. Hey, Joe. One case on the Big Island. So when Joe's talking about Joe's on the Big Island of Hawaii. That's an awesome place. Been there quite a few times, up to the observatories a couple times. Hawaii is going to get hit. Of course, all the islands, even that little private island will get hit. Let's see here. Los Angeles. Hello, Daniel Voice. I hope everything's good if you're down in Australia. I hope you're good to go, man. You courageously came into Hong Kong. And let's see. Hello from in Australia and Washington State and Seattle. And hello, Aishan. And Oregon closed school. Okay, let's see if there's any. I just shot. Yeah, that's right. The island is Ni Hua. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hey, Ni Hua. But it's that little private island. Yeah, but I just shot to the bottom. So if you put a question way up near the top and you want me to get a shot at answering it, if it's something that's within my head, I'll answer it. And if it's not, I'll try to send you in the right direction. But just put it up one more time, please. And Pira is saying, while we fighting on the virus, the South terrorists show up with a bomb blast. You're talking about Thailand, in the southern part of Thailand's a huge country. A lot of people don't realize that. Thailand's actually quite big. It looks small because of where it's at on the globe in relation to the equator, and also where it's at in relation to Asia. Asia's like a planet, so any country you put in Asia looks small. And so, but it's actually a huge country. But down in the very far south, which is like 1,200 miles from me, probably, there's a insurgency on the Malaysian border in those southern three provinces. Waco, Texas. Hey, Linda. Watching our nation panic. Please, we need places to sleep, eat, and shower. Yeah, well, people like us aren't panicking. We're just like, and as people say, don't panic. They're just like, whatever, man. We're not. we're so prepared. We're so prepared that we don't even. I would be, if you have the budget, I would have the absolute bottom line preparation for 4 months. I mean, 1 month is like, that's That's so cutting it close on this. Remember, our government's saying at this point, and not only us, it's Canadians and British and others are doing the Germans are all doing French, all been saying one thing, and then 2 sentences later from the same person at the same time contradicting it. Like, for instance, who said this? I saw it yesterday. Who was it? It was an American official. Something about, we need to quarantine, everybody stay indoors. Older people should be prepared to stay indoors for at least 4 months and like don't come out for 4 months. But don't hoard when you go shopping. Just shop for all that you need for 1 week. You're like, okay, hold on. Recalculate here. Go back, run those numbers again. So you just told people to stay indoors for 4 months, but they should shop once a week. Okay, somehow that works out in magic math. They need to read the book Innumeracy. Wow, so many popping up here. So it's hard to answer them all. Hello in Michigan. Yeah, Narawatawat. That's a southern province in Thailand. Okay. Yeah, definitely, food, water, Catadine. Actually, Catadine asked me yesterday if I was interested in like some kind of I don't know, what do you call it? Spot? I don't know, some sort of relationship. I don't know. I have to read the email again. But because I've been recommending these Catadine filters since 2002. You know what I mean? This filter, this is the same filter I've had that whole time. This bad boy has been in wars, cannibal chasing. It's been all over the place, man. Philippines, Iraq, Afghanistan, Malaysia, Burma, Indonesia, all over just the United States. That thing's been everywhere. India, Nepal. This thing's been up to Mount Everest twice. Just the bottom. I didn't climb Mount Everest. So yeah. So if you ever see me saying that I'm doing this sponsored by Catadine, you'll know that I was also doing it for years without that. I don't think they're going to sponsor me anyway. I've never been sponsored, by the way. I've never accepted any advertisement. I've never accepted. I was using it, so let me make sure I'm letting it dry out. Actually, take it out. Oh, it's dry. Just making sure it's dry. Yeah, man, get that thing. It's expensive, but like I told Catadine, like I've told my readers, I've said, I researched this water filter before I bought it more than most people will research a car before buying it. Speaking of which, Elon Musk is basically telling people that, trying to gaslight the whole world and saying, it's blown out of proportion. Non-essential companies should not be closed down. And what does he call a non-essential company? His Tesla production. He's saying his Tesla people should come to work as long as they're asymptomatic, when we know that asymptomatic people spread the disease. We know that. That's just a fact. Another way to do it is put everybody in the big, Stay Puft marshmallow suit to come to work, right? That's one way to do it, but we don't have enough PPE because we've completely failed. But, the guy that's putting, constellations of satellites up there, he's smart enough to know this, but he's acting like a sociopath. He's doing this obviously for his own company, which is fine. I mean, on one level, because our economy really is very, very important. Everybody's economy is very, very important. But he's basically actually somehow seems to have persuaded the government that Tesla is an essential company and it should stay open. Can't make up this stuff. I'll have to check the news again and see what's the latest on that. George Bennett, why do you still dress like you're on a battlefield while sitting in your living room? Why not? It's a comfortable shirt. And also it's dark. And so the dark works quite well with the background, and I like it. It's a normal shirt, actually. Everybody should wear shirts like this. I think if you don't, you're just missing out on a wonderful opportunity to wear great shirts at a discount price. Let's see. Deb Deli, do it, Michael, with Catadine. Get free stuff. Actually, free stuff would be fine. Let's see. Actually, I've got my filters. You know what I mean? So I don't really need any more. Actually, what I need is one Berkey filter. I need a Berkey filter. That's it. The Berkey, the pour over ones. That's one. That's what I actually need, because that way I don't have to use this one as much if I'm at home. But I actually at home. I mean, I'm in Thailand, so I don't have a problem with water here. But I would like to have a Berkey filter, for instance, on my low grade travel. In other words, I'm not up in the mountains in the Himalaya or chasing cannibals or whatever, but one that I can actually keep in my own hotel that I don't have to pump this one all the time. I'm telling you, when I say I've pumped 1,000 gallons out of this thing, I was thinking about it the other day. It's got to be a lot more. It's got to be a lot more because I'm often using it in hotel rooms, and if I'm in countries that I don't trust the water, it's got to be more. So I'm not just using it in the jungles and the deserts. I mean, I use that thing in hotel rooms. All right. Thank you, Regina. Yeah, Colombia's good shirts. I've never worn Magellan, but Colombia's nice. Okay. Yeah, it matters where you live in the country. A good way to get Wei Shan saying, Michael, Berkey filters in Australia being bought out from the online store. Stock up, not coming anytime soon. Let's see. Bird flu. Okay, actually one bird flu broke out shortly after this, and you can see back in about January, I was saying, hey, China seems to be doing a chicken call in some area, and then it kind of fell off the radar. So I've actually been watching for that. I haven't. I mean, definitely be if there's. We can have two pandemics simultaneously. Obviously, right? We can obviously have two come right at us. So in fact, if there's any opportunity for one to come when more people's immunity are weaker and that sort of thing, maybe this is it. Yeah, you're welcome, Stephanie. Yeah, make sure to get your vitamin D. Let's see. I'm going to try to answer some questions here. Nicole's saying, ask again, please. I want his answer too. Which one? Okay. K. Graham. I am aware in senior, too many people think they will surely die if they get this virus. Prayers they don't. My focus is not to be contagious. Yeah, and more younger people seem to be getting struck. Look what's coming out of Netherlands right now on that, actually. And yeah, SB, Working Through 3 Seconds to Midnight. That's a book. I've read it twice. It's a very important book. I've read it twice and I've studied it more. Uh, Deanna is saying, how bad do you actually see it getting in the U.S. when so many aren't taking it seriously? The fact that so many people aren't taking it seriously will definitely make it worse, for sure. That's what causes this last minute panic stuff. But wait till in the future when a lot of people who haven't taken it seriously do actually run out of food, which will probably happen in some locations. The United States is big, and the situation is different around the country. And so different people have different situations. And some people, I'm sure, are going to have zero problem whatsoever, period. It'll be like normal, especially for Amish people. They're going to be like, well, whatever. We still use candles, and maybe some people from the community will be lost to it, but their whole lives will not be turned upside down. Their whole society will not be turned upside down. So that depends. Uh, Kirk Miyake, is there any way to get China to get rid of their wet market virus incubators factories? That's a good question. People have been warning China about it for many years. Amanda, how crucial do you think personal family protection is in the Southeast? Oh, very important. If everybody stays home, actually, you don't need it. If everybody's home and nobody's infected, you don't need it. It's only when somebody's going out. But keeping in mind, sooner or later, you know, most of us are going to get it sooner or later. So most of us are going to come across it sooner or later. The point is to flatten the curve so that if we get it and we do require hospitalization, there's actually a bed there, you know? And so that's what's important, that there's actually a bed there when you actually go to get it, if you get it. Guns. Well, it depends on where you live. If you live in Japan, you don't need a gun. But if you live in some parts of the United States, I think you're crazy if you don't have one. It depends on your situation. Shelly says, I'm in the apartment industry, I think, or APT. It was apartment or APT? I don't know. But something about still want you to show up in APT's apartments. I don't know, in the middle of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I don't know exactly what you mean. 290 in Chicago. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Word Dunlap. City dwellers will feel the pain of this the worst. I'm sure that they will, actually. Preppers. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube. I call it YouTube University for preppers. Look for preppers that are either two things. One, they're in your situation, like live in a large city, if you're in a large city, or they live in the country, or something like that. So fits your kind of situation. And then also fits your geographical location. Preferably lives in a city, let's say in New York City. If you live, because, you know, New York, I was watching Como speak. I mean, New York can count. New York's probably going to get shut down here pretty soon, is my guess. And so, I mean, like New York, like the whole state, if you listen to what he said. And actually, Como was making sense, actually. He was making a lot of sense. And, you know, he's trying to do this in a methodical, logical way. Basically, I got a forest fire going on over here. I got an earthquake going on over there. I got a typhoon coming. You know what I mean? It's like, and so he's got all these different problems that he's got here. And this is challenging the best minds to make a decision based on imperfect information and to use your best judgment. And so make sure that look for YouTube videos for preppers that are in your like economic situation, your social situation, your like out of town situation, in town situation in the northern part of the United States, or in the southern, or in Germany, or in Thailand, or wherever, because remember, it's different in every place. If you live in Alaska, you've got climatic differences that are hugely different. If you live in Key West, right? Or if you live in Brazil, if you live in Thailand, it's very different. You know, my weather situation is approximately the same here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, as where I grew up in Central Florida. The weather is basically the same here, except for it gets a little bit hotter where I'm from in Florida and a little bit colder. But otherwise, it's just, so where I'm at here in Chiang Mai, Thailand is a little bit more mild. And it's a similar situation, actually. But yeah, so look up preppers and start. And, you know, people have been talking trash about preppers all their lives, but, you know, now they're Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Let's see. Dana Dean is saying, Michael, you have no idea how you helped us. Listen to you and forced added stock and prep for my household. I talked to extended family. Some listened. One dismissed me as one would dismiss a child. The ones that took me as a nut are now scrambling for food. I saw the signs. You brought stability, calm, and truth. I applied action due to that. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. You're most welcome. And guess what? The last time I've dealt with that own situation in my world is like 2 hours ago. One of my own family members, who's a highly educated man, is like totally thinks, you know, he's calling everybody nutty in the family that I've persuaded to prepare. Let's put it that way. And he's a key member of our familial community, right? It's like, so, you know, he's not taking it seriously. So I think a lot of us within our own little, whatever circles they are, whether they're family, whether they're social circles, or in your apartment block or in your neighborhood, these outliers can affect us. In some situations, if somebody wants to ride his bicycle with no helmet on, so what, man? If you crack your head, it's on you. I'm believing freedom. But if you want to get drunk and drive your car up and down the road where the kids are in the road, it's like, guess what? You're not going to do it. And I don't care if you're big Navy SEAL dude. I will stop you. You know what I'm saying? And now we're in that situation here with this disease. We're in a situation where their poor behavior is worse than drinking and driving and running up and down the road with the kids running around. I mean, they're a serious situation. They're a serious problem for us all, and they should not. I don't care who they are. They need to be called out, shamed, put on the internet, whatever, or in your private circles. I'm doing it within our own social circles, but I mean, and others. So many people are telling me they're having these problems within their own family, within their own whatever military unit. Obviously, in a military unit, you can just be like the commander can take it seriously, but our military is about to have a big problem as well. Jennifer Hack saying, ordered more large, comfortable -6 degree sleeping bags for the family. Winter is coming. That's right. I love the way you think, Jennifer. Winter is coming. Well, in Canberra, it gets below freezing. Well, actually, you're in the South. I was thinking winter is coming because now is March, and it's not going to be very long to be winter, even if you're in South Georgia, right? I mean, winter is coming. Winter will be here very soon. And I remember when I was with Jeff Mellinger, he was the command sergeant major of all the coalition forces that were in the Iraq war, and that whole CENTCOM area, actually, or not all of CENTCOM, but all of that war area. And it was the heat of the summer, and we would be going all around the war. I would drive with him, and Jeff Mellinger would be like, hey, make sure to get your air conditioning fixed now. And people would be like, wow, there's like, I'm sorry, it was the winter time. He was preparing for the heat of the summer. And he was like, prepare your air conditioning now. And then because I rode with him a lot, summer and winter. And then the summer he'd be like, get your heater ready now. And in the winter he's like, get your air conditioner ready now, because when that time comes, and it'll be here just really soon, then everybody will have their vehicles trying to get them ready to go. And let me tell you, if you have an air conditioner and you're in the Iraq war, if you're in the Iraq war and your air conditioner doesn't work, that's a big, big deal. I mean, that's super, super hot, and you're in all this metal and armor. You're like in a sauna worse, right? And so, and you're in body armor and all this stuff and wearing a helmet. It's a big deal. I mean, people go out from the heat and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's just very soon we're going to be here. I'm going to try to answer. There's so many questions, and I know I'm not hitting them all because I'm talking more and there's so many questions. Sam Edwards, many of us have family members that will be calling on us to help them in a few weeks. I'm expecting it and preparing for it. And to some extent, I have to do this. Yeah, I mean, see, that's a problem too. So here's the situation. So let's say you stock up on a lot of extra food, right? And you're going out of pocket for this. And now all of a sudden your neighbors are hungry, right? And you're like, okay, I'll give you some food, but I have to sell it to you because I need to get my money back because I got to buy some other stuff. Then you're going to be into that situation where, what a mess. I mean, but this, we knew it's coming. I've been in so many crises. This is like so normal to me, but not on this global scale. I've never seen it like this. Nobody alive has ever seen something like this. What is unfolding? I mean, there's people that lived through World War II that are still alive. And at the peak of World War II, wherever they were at, may have been worse. I'm sure it was in a lot of places. But what's about to happen with economies collapsing and whatnot is almost certainly going to lead to a lot of famines around the world in different places. Probably not in the United States. I don't know, unless something changes. And a lot of wars. I would count on a lot of wars. I would count that we're going to be in some wars. I don't know where. I can guess like you can, but it would just be a guess. I don't know. Cynthia is asking if this is biowarfare. I don't know. I don't know. It may have just come from the wet market. I would say this: if somebody like North Korea, for instance, decide in our weakened state here this summer to do a virus attack on our computers, to try to take down our grid, for instance, through hijacking our grid, installing malware or whatever into whatever systems, banking or whatever. If we can definitively track it back to somebody like North Korea, we should end them without notice. And suddenly, it's just like one day North Korea was here, and now they're gone, finished. And what's left is for North Korea is like for China to take care of, and South Korea. I mean, it's that simple. The message should be clear. If somebody attacks us at the core during this weakened state, we will end you. So it should be very, very clear that how serious this is. Meanwhile, the United States must pull all of our manufacturing out of China. I mean, from the smallest widget. Strategically, China has killed themselves. The China that we know, that we knew in December, is dead. It's finished. It's still got a little fluttering pulse, but now they've already threatened our pharmaceutical supplies. Think about the long-term effects of this. Everybody says the Chinese are so brilliant. Are they? Are they? When they just threatened our pharmaceutical supplies? That just assures that we pull everything out, right? Bit by bit, we're going to pull everything out. And then where's their economy going to be, right? It'll take us years, but bit by bit, who is going to be elected to presidency of the United States on anything less than total destruction of the Chinese Communist Party? Somehow. I mean, there's got to be some plan that, I mean, I've been working on the destruction of the Chinese Communist Party for a long time. It's not a coincidence that I was just in Hong Kong for 6 months and they finally kicked me out, right? I mean, we need to destroy the Chinese Communist Party. And I mean destruction, gone. I don't mean with nuclear weapons. I mean financially. I mean in every, this is it. If they cut off our pharmaceuticals, which they well could do. I mean, we may lose a couple million Americans anyway, just from the virus itself. Notwithstanding all the other things that will happen. Like if you get into a bicycle accident, and you can't get treatment and you weren't wearing a helmet, you know, where's my bicycle helmet? Right there. I see it. So my printer. If you're not wearing your helmet, or you break your bone when you're wearing your mountain bike, you're riding your mountain bike, you may not be able to get treatment. And you need to count on that. Big boy rules are in effect. Big boy and big girl. This is it. I mean, call 911. You are 911. You are it. Count on keeping your kids doing safer stuff. You know how boys and girls are. There's a tree. I think I'll go climb it. I know how I was. Or there's some gasoline. I got to go light a fire. Oh, there's a snake. I got to go catch it. It's a good time not to be doing stuff like that. How can you fight CCP? Very simple. Just like, first of all, don't elect anybody. Don't vote for anybody that's not being very clear that they're not here to take out CCP. My two senators in Florida, Scott and Marco Rubio, are big time hawks on CCP. I love it. And in fact, I briefed Senator Scott's staff before he went over to Hong Kong and Rubio's, but that was not privately. That was in a group doing like a chat like this, actually. Let's see. Tommy is saying, an epidemiologist on John Batchelor said, John B, you must mean John Batchelor, my incredible radio show. I love it, man. It's my favorite. Says the common coronavirus that seems to have special stuff added, not a natural mutation. I don't know. I'm withholding all. Let's wait. We have time for that. Sam Edwards, you and Chang, you mean Gordon Chang, both used the dead moniker for China. Isn't it really just a slow decline into irrelevance? I brought that up to Gordon Chang on the latest John Batchelor show that I did on Monday night. And, we had the interview. And towards the end, I said, because it was Thaddeus McCotter and John Batchelor and Gordon Chang and me. So it was we four that were on there. And towards the end, I asked something. You can hear it. It'll be on their podcast, Audio Boom, right? And I said something like, this is directed towards you, Gordon. Because I read everything Gordon writes that I see, or if I see his interviews, I'm like, stop, what's Gordon talking about now? And he's got a good Twitter feed. And I asked him, I've been saying since January that the China that we know it, as of December of 2019, is dead. And I asked, do you agree with that? And you can listen to his answer. We are in agreement. And actually, when I brought that up to Gordon, I was actually trying to do something. I was trying to get him to start saying that. I didn't say that to him, but actually I should send him an email. I just, like Xi's disease, I'm very happy that President Trump has started calling this China virus. I'm so super happy. like that, when I saw that, and I saw other people like, oh no, President Trump's calling it. Trump has made some big mistakes on this virus, massive, but that was good. I like the way he struck back on that was good. Strike back. And because they're blaming this on us. China is blaming that the United States has released this as a bioweapon on China. That's big. That's a big deal. This is how they can use that to justify when all of their students are in our universities or working in our companies across the United States to steal IP from us, to steal technology from us, to spy on us. We need to kick them all out. All the Chinese mainlander students. I'm not talking about Hong Kongers. I'm not talking about Taiwanese. I'm not talking about Chinese that are from Singapore. Not them at all. Most welcome. But the mainlanders need to go out. Go home. Go back to China until we've had a chance to vet everybody that comes back in. They've been stealing too much property, too much of our intellectual property, spying on us, and running information operations that are absolutely insane. Janice, you do not know that. You do not know that this was man-made. Do not say that. You do not know that. Do not say what you do not know, and you do not know that. Don Sakuda, he was on Lou Dobbs today. He was mad at the journalist for defending CCP today, questioning POTUS. You mean you're talking about Gordon Chang was mad? I hope he was mad. Because Gordon Chang, everybody needs to follow his Twitter. And if you see Gordon Chang on the news, you need to stop and listen to what he's saying. Follow his Twitter. And I hope he's mad. We're mad together. I mean, when I met, I'd never met Gordon Chang until he came to Hong Kong last year, and we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. And then he asked me if I wanted to start coming on the John Batchelor show. I was like, oh yeah, for sure, man. I love it. I just couldn't believe it. And so yeah, I highly respect him and his intellect and his willingness to just take on China head on. And people say, he made a mistake on this or that. Of course, he makes some mistakes. This is big stuff. Nobody's going to be right on everything because we're trying to. It's too complex, and we all know that. We're all smart enough to realize that this is a complex problem, and we can't read the future. There's too many wild variables. But I certainly directionally agree with Gordon Chang and my own assessment and that of some others. We're still outliers on this, but we strongly believe that the Chinese Communist Party, as we know it now, is dead. It's still going to breathe for a while, and it could even last in name, but it's going to be defanged as we pull out so much of our manufacturing and decouple. I don't see any president being elected that's going to be like, yeah, let's stay in bed with China. President Trump just called this China disease. Who is ever going to vote for Bloomberg when they're thinking, wait, China disease, China Xi's disease? Who released this on the United States? It was China. They released on us by not getting it down. They didn't tamp it down. They had a chance. They tried to cover it up. The zero patient case that we know of was 17 November 2019. They kept it covered up. They covered it up until into January. And then a lady from my hometown named Sharon, what's her name? Is it Sharon? She noticed it from Winter Haven, Florida. She's got a website called Flu Trackers. This is a lady from my hometown in Winter Haven, Florida. I can't believe the people that come from my hometown. It's unbelievable. A lot of it's a small town and all these people like her come out of it. This is like a long list of people like that. It must be water or something. All right, let me get to some questions here. Hey, Joe. Joe Suker, who is another person that everybody should listen to. I asked him a medical question the other day about oxygen for home, if this could be good for this. He's a very expensive surgeon. Not expensive. He will be expensive, I'm sure. But he's a very experienced surgeon. And so he's good to listen to. There's a lot of medical doctors and nurses that come on to my page. And I want to say again, I've said it many times, if you're visiting the United States and you just got stuck in America, which, it's going to happen to some people. If you want to go home and you still got a chance to do it, you better get on. You need to get off my program, go pack your bags and go home right now, because it's getting to the point where any day now you're going to be stuck wherever you're at, right? And so you need to do that. But what I want to say is, in the United States, we highly respect. We don't always just go to doctors for advice. We'll actually go to nurses. And know in a lot of countries, they would never dream to go to a nurse, because the nurses are more like bedpan cleaners in a lot of countries, but not in America. Our nurses are actually very well educated, and they have a lot of medical knowledge. And we listen to nurses. Actually, I do. If a nurse tells me something, I'll be like, okay, a nurse is telling me something. I'm going to listen to what she has to say, or he has to say. And so, all right. Yeah, I saw that, Glenn, about the Chinese tycoon that may have vanished. I don't know. Yeah, and we do listen to pharmacists. We Americans will actually listen to pharmacists too, because our pharmacists, they're not just pilled. In many countries, the pharmacists are just like a guy. He could be working at 7-Eleven, actually. You know what I'm saying? But in the United States and some other countries as well, the pharmacists are actually really like highly educated. They're expected to know stuff. They're part of our line of defense, the pharmacist. So pharmacists, nurses, people that in a lot of countries you might not expect would be somebody that you always have to go to the doctor if it's something ultimately important. But for like minor stuff or advice on things, we'll absolutely go to nurses and pharmacists and that sort of thing, because they are quite well trained. Michael.Yon is saying, talk about hoarders versus preppers. Preppers are not going into stores at the last minute and buying it. Okay, that's a really good point Michael.Yon is bringing up. Yeah, maybe something good in the water in Winter Haven. But Michael.Yon is bringing up something important. I'm a prepper, Dr. Prepper. You can be a prepper too. Hey, it's joke of the day. But we're not actually hoarders. There's a difference between stockpiling and hoarding, right? Hoarding is like you're going in at the last minute and buying everything off the shelf when everybody needs it. Now you're hoarding, right? But stockpiling is like you're getting it while the supply lines are still wide open and everything is like, and everybody's still like right now, if you go to a store and start buying heavy duty, let's say at a Publix in Winter Haven, Florida, downtown on Cypress Gardens Road, and you go to that Publix, and is that Publix still there by the Ritz? Is the Ritz Theater still there? Anyway, if you go to the Publix and you buy a bunch of stuff, I mean, they'll just bring it from their warehouse in Lakeland like 5 hours later, probably. I don't know. Their warehouse is in Lakeland, right? I don't know, unless they changed. But I mean, which is, not far away. So, I mean, they'll be able to restock it super quickly. So it's not a big deal because our everything is still open. So get it now. Go buy everything. But the people like us, Michael.Yon is obviously a prepper, or he wouldn't even bring that up. People like us get it so far in advance that we get it when the prices are cheap. Like a lot of my stuff that I've got for prep, this buy one, get one free stuff, man. Man, if I see tuna fish, buy one, get one free, that's like fish jumping in the boat. I'm getting it. I'm getting anything that's really good, buy one, get one free. And I don't care about the expiration dates on most of the cans. There are some things that have expiration dates that are real, like extra virgin olive oil, for instance. There is actual real, it really will not be as good. Clorox will actually, believe it or not, actually has a real expiration date. But then there's other things like you see expiration dates on water and salt and a lot of these canned goods that you'll look on YouTube and look like old canned goods, and you'll see people opening cans from like 1950. Or look at old food testing or something like that. There's a lot of YouTubes where people like find World War I stuff in old trenches that they dig out, or World War II food, and they eat it, and it's still quite good, actually. But preppers, we're not even in the stores. I'm going to the stores just because I'm seeing how things are going. And also one of the things, even after you're prepped, still keep adding, get to at least your par level. Par level is your base level that you don't go below, right? And then and then shop above that line. So that's your par line. Don't go below that. You never go below the par line, and keep it above that, right? And so keep your stock above that. Now you want to have a nice fat area above it too, because when this disease goes totally through the wall, which is it's about to go right through the ceiling, right? It's already done it in Italy and Iran and China. Then you don't want to be going out to the stores much, and that's when you're going down into your actual strategic reserves, and you're going, whittling it down. And that's why we've built them up. So those of us who see that this could be really a long-term thing have really parred up, because first, we know prices are going to go up, and we know supplies will go down. These things go together. We know how. And we know that we don't want to be going out. So, we got three things going. We're going to have three things that maybe I missed. Maybe there's a fourth or fifth thing. So, make sure we're not hoarders. We've already got it. The hoarders are the ones that come in at the last minute, and they would buy the last drop of gasoline if they had a big enough gas tank. Okay, I'm not going to engage in conspiracy theory about the virus. We have time to figure that out. We got other things going on. Whether or not the Chinese actually invented this virus or not is unknown to me. And guess what? At this moment in time, that's a complete waste of brain cycles. We need to be thinking about squaring each other away on water, food, whatever else you need, medicines, pharmaceuticals, power issues, batteries, candles. That's why I got this candle burning here. Can you see my candle? So to remind people, make sure you got plenty of candles. That's why my candle's burning. Just to remind you to make sure you got enough batteries, can opener for all your cans that don't open, that sort of thing. How long do I think lockdowns will last, Deanna? Okay, there's the lockdowns from the government side, and then there's lockdowns that we should just do ourselves. There's no lockdown in Thailand, but I'm not going out much anyway. I go out a little bit to see stuff because I want to see. But also, when it gets really serious and it goes through the roof in Thailand, then I'll be going out, but only totally decked out with like military mask, Tevex suit, and everything else. And that'll be like really just to see how my friends and whatnot are doing, to see if anybody needs help and tell you what's going on in Thailand, that sort of thing. But I would not even leave the house. How long will it last? It lasts how long you think it should last, actually, because you remember there's two reasons you shouldn't leave the house during this period. One is if you have it, and one is if you don't have it. You should not leave if you have it. If you think that you've come exposed to somebody that has it, or you are showing symptoms, or just that you've been exposed to somebody that has the G's disease, you should not leave your home, right? Or if you don't have it. Either reason, you should stay, right? So Mark is saying, probably because there are lots of pockets in gear like that. You have older and busier you get. Somebody must be asking about my shirt. Oh, yeah. All kinds of pockets. You want to remember where your pockets are at. I will be back in wars. You know what I mean? Chances are quite high. And so I like to be comfortable in the sort of gear that I will be wearing. Like, where's the pockets? My days in wars are almost certainly not over. Megan is saying, Megan Nice, sorry I missed your answer, but can you address the possibility of martial law or mandatory lock-ins? I would say in the United States, I've been saying since January, it's going to happen in different places. Whether New York might be one of the first ones, I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. When and how long, I do not know. But anybody that thinks it's not going to happen, I think is kidding themselves. I think they're being foolish. Even in France now, you have to have a paper. It's like your papers, please, to travel around. Something I read yesterday. So you actually have to show your papers to go around in France. By the way, you can see my again, go to my YouTube page. Here's Michael.Yon, war correspondent, cannibal hunter, and subscribe to that one. Because if Facebook shuts us down, that'll be another outlet. Will be another way to find my information. And if YouTube shuts us down, go to Facebook. So either way. All right. Let me try to answer a few more questions. Leslie Adams is saying, don't give up, drive. Don't give up, drive. There are people out there that meet you in the parking lot and drive through to get your dinner, including me. I wouldn't be buying from any restaurants now. And I want to say again something I said early on. There's thousands of restaurants around the United States that either already are closed or will be closed soon, and they're going to have a lot of inventory, right? So go to them and ask them if you can buy their inventory, because they'll probably be happy to turn a lot of that inventory into cash, and you'll probably be happy you'll probably be happy to get some of that great inventory, maybe a cheaper price. Actually, don't let that inventory go to waste. That's a way we can help each other right there. Just buy all the inventory out of the restaurants that are closed now. Ask them, if they're not there in the restaurant because it's closed, they probably got a number there. Call them up. Hey, I live, down the block here. You got any inventory you want to sell? I got $500, man. What do you got? Oh, I'll be right down there in 5 minutes. Hold on. I got a bunch of stuff, you know how that goes. Let's see. Vitamin D or D3? I just go out in the sunlight, drink my milk. I got a bunch of salmon, got a bunch of tuna, all kinds of things that sardines, and different fish that have vitamin D. But I'll get out and get in the sun today. I'm looking at the sun. There's a lot of good sunshine now. I'm looking at my security cameras. It's quite bright. Drink my milk. Let's see. All right. SB is saying all restaurants closed in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. Just think about all that inventory that those restaurateurs probably want to get rid of. And a lot of it probably will spoil soon and they'll lose a lot of money. And you can go and buy it and help them out and help you out. Buy it up, man. Just go buy it. Somebody might say, that's not legal. Who cares? Go buy it. It's like, this is a war. Lighters are great barter items yeah, actually that's weird because I bought a bunch of lighters recently because I keep lighters, but yeah, I mean, it's good to have lighters, matches, that sort of thing. And also buy, think about things that you can barter. If we get in a tough situation, we'll start bartering stuff, right? Like, hey, I got a bunch of lighters. You guys need something? I need this. You need that, whatever. And don't hesitate to barter. Don't be just giving stuff away, barter. I mean, if they didn't stock up on food and you've got food, barter. I mean, this is we're just going to change our currency, right? Currency's changing. Let's see. Gloria is asking, do we get our money? Do we get out our money? Well, I don't know. I've been wondering that myself. And I'm not going to offer that sort of advice, but I can tell you one thing. I mean, gold prices have been going down. I don't know what they're like in the last 48 hours or so, but gold normally goes up at a time like this. But I'm not offering financial advice. But I don't know on the money thing, but I have a strange feeling that U.S. currency is going to slip in value, but I don't know. And also many other countries are going to have problems as well. This is going to be a new world. As I was saying in January, there's going to be the world that we knew before 2020. There's going to be this really strange world in 2020, and then this problem will continue into 2021, and then it will continue still. And there'll be another world out the other end of it. We are going to come out most of us are going to come out the other end fine, but we're going to have a lot of memories, probably similar to a lot of our grandparents and great grandparents had. We're probably going to. So if you're psychologically ready for it, it'll be much easier and you'll be much calmer. If you know that it's coming, then you'll be much more. This is very important to prepare yourself psychologically. That way, when it happens, you're like, I knew it was going to happen. Still sucks, but not that bad. I knew it was coming. Da, 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 da. It's like, and, sing a happy song and be a leader, I didn't tell anybody to drain. Yeah. Oh yeah. Ward Dunlap says, don't tell anyone if you drain your bank. Certainly not. Yeah. And asking how much cash you should keep on hand. I can't answer that because I don't know what your situation is. And, I would, I hate to say it, but I would tend to take it out of a bank. But you see, that thought process that I just had is part of the dangerous thought process. That's what collapses the banks, right? I know enough about the economy to know that. So, so there you go. What would I do? I know what I would do. And so it's kind of, there you go. Mark Rogers says, I started calling it the Wuhan flu because I felt we shouldn't forget where it came from, but then listened to some virologist last night who said they stopped naming diseases after where they came from because that encourages areas to not report and to hide. Oh, that's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. To report to the outbreak in the future due to long-term stigma. So I've stopped that because one thing this has taught us is we need to openness and to encourage immediate reporting. Just call it G's disease, because they did cover it up. Call it G's disease. Well, Ebola didn't get named after where it came from, did it? Daniel Voice is saying Bitcoin and gold and silver stores all lost value. I hate to say it though, but my thought is probably like that of a lot of other people is you probably should take the money. I hate to say that because obviously that is something that really can help add to the problems in a huge way. But you know how these bank runs happen. They happen when they think others will do a bank run. But we can all see that the economy is collapsing. But then that makes it collapse more. You know what I mean? Because a lot of this is psychology, right? You don't need a PhD in economics to see that. Yeah, be water. Let's see. Mark said, for every disaster, there are opportunities. Like you said, we knew it was coming. We did. We knew it was coming. It's going to be a new world after this. And I think in a lot of ways, ask Winnie the Pooh for advice. You mean G? Here, I got my own bear. For people that say you're just causing panic, which nobody's done that today. And if they did, I missed it. I got this here for anybody that says you're just causing panic. If they start saying that, then I'll hold it like this. Oh, it's still got the thing on here. And I'll hold it, and pet it and like, it's okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Everything will be okay. We're not panicking. We are preparing. We are prepared. We are winners. We're not going to go down. We're going to get through this. And we're going to have some memories. Take lots of pictures. Take notes. Take pictures. And help. If everybody helps one person, we're way ahead of the curve. Just if everybody helps just one person. And also helping people it's another thing that makes you feel better, actually. So, the Ebola River in Congo. Alan M. says, state line closure will be a first-time experience in USA. Very interested to see how things unfold. I've been saying for a long time we should close the state borders and whatnot and counties and whatnot. Now, the actual timing is unclear because there's more to this. There's the public health aspect of it, and then there's the economy, and these are entwined. Like when the economy collapses, more people will die because the economy collapsed, right? So, and they'll die from other things. And so, this is not easy. This is not like if you're just one thing, public health, then we just lock everybody down. Everybody go to your house and it'll burn over. That might, but the problem is then nobody actually got enough herd immunity, and then so you come back out, and then it can come reemerge, right? So there is no way to easily get through this. It's like there's a typhoon coming, and there's just no. You built your house on the beach. Well, your house is on the beach, and we're all on the beach now. You know what I mean? Because we get even if we didn't ask for this. Excuse me. Let's see. Mark Steppenback says, we are moving towards a time when goods are worth more than cash. The period might not last for long, but it's interesting to see us moving towards a commodity-based economy. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of changes. There are going to be some massive changes. The oil issues, boy, that's another whole dimension here. Thanks, Don. That can make people feel good if they say don't panic. I got my anti-panic bear here. This is my anti-panic bear. De-panicking. We'll do some de-panicking. Let's see. Paper financial instruments can vaporize. Exactly. Lil saying it is suspicious that the virus started just a ways from the lab where they created it in. Yeah. Deb is saying bank run, new world after this. What are you saying? The money may just all change to. Yeah, I mean, it's a giant reset. I mean, things are changing now. Things are going to be dramatically different. The world that we've known up to now is really ended. I mean, we're just on the front crest of it. It's going to be different when we get through the other side of this. And make sure, everybody show leadership, especially if you're a parent and you got kids. Don't, got to definitely show leadership to the kids and courage at all times in front of the kids. And measured courage at all times. Don't show, any stress in front of the children. Yeah, exactly. Charles says the people that say you're panicking are the ones panicking. Yeah. I'm just answering questions here. I've said pretty much everything I need to say. And I'm just answering questions. And yeah, definitely with children, just remember everybody that's around kids, even if they're not your children, if they're your neighbors' kids or whatever, we all have to be leaders for the children. And don't act like animals in the store. I don't think the people on my pages do that actually. But show encouragement and positive thoughts and feelings, but reality too. Don't hide it. I wouldn't hide it. I wouldn't hide it at all. I would just teach them ways to cope with this. Megan is saying not panic, but feeling impending doomish. It's not doom. I mean, it's just going to be some tough times. That's okay. I went through a lot of tough times when I was a kid. Really, really, really tough. I mean, I remember when I was young. Actually, when I was, I'll tell you the truth. It's in my book, Danger Close. I mean, I almost committed suicide when I was a little kid. It was really tough. I had a really tough time. My mother died and some things. It was very tough. She died when I was 7. And it was the worst thing ever. No matter what comes out of this, it is nothing compared to my mother dying. It is absolutely nothing. It can be tough and all that. It's like nothing. And I survived my mother dying, so that was easily the worst. And so mothers should think about that too. You are incredibly important to somebody, and you must take care of yourself. Let's see, Jenna Thacking. What do you think of the death rate versus recovery rate in Italy so far and the U.S.? I know it's just getting started, and we don't have true numbers from China. I forget China, as you know, but that scares me. It seems 50-50. Okay, um, we're I think we're never going to have great numbers for a long time because we don't even know how many people really are infected. There's not enough people being tested, so we don't have that. We don't have that bottom number, right? And so until we've got the bottom number there, until we've got the denominator, we're not going to know. And maybe in the future we will have a scientifically reliable numbers later when scientists are able to test how many people got exposed to it but are now healed. But at this time, that it looks like it's going to be a while, and I'm just listening to their clues on this. What kind of shirt am I wearing? I've forgotten which one this is. Here, it's on the tag, man. I'll show you later. I like it. It's a nice shirt. But definitely show leadership to the kids, and you're incredibly important to your kids. Let's see. Let's see. Michelle says, Sue Lindquist, your mother died when you were 5, so you know exactly what it's like. Yeah, definitely think of others, and that helps you also as well. Excuse me. What? Yeah, one of the EU7, I don't know how your handle is there, EW7. I've always told my kids that we have been blessed in the U.S. and never take the ease of their lives for granted. One positive side of this is that a lot of people are about to get a necessary wake up and kind of a shock to the system that is not fatal for everybody, but is going to be a real hit in the face. And it's going to be a wake up to, whoa, okay, that's how, this is what big boy rules are actually like. And it will change the way that they view the future in dramatic ways. And I think for a lot of people in positive ways. But first, we're going to have to go through some very, very, very challenging times, and we're going to do it, and we're going to be fine. But at the same time, just be prepared that, there's going to be some times that are not going to be. Spanish flu, Nega is asking. We call it the Spanish flu. Oh, you call it YouTube. That's funny. Right. Sorry. But Nega is saying, tell us about the Spanish flu history. It's called Spanish flu because, during World War I, Spain was neutral. They were out of the war. And so their press wasn't locked down like it was in most of the other countries. And so people started getting sick. And so the Spanish press was actually reporting it, where a lot of the others were covering it up, like the United States, because it may have come from Kansas. Nobody really knows where it came from. But some of it certainly came from Kansas. At minimum, there was a case in Kansas that made its way into one of our military bases, which became a cluster, which became, and then we were shipping off our troops to Europe for World War I, and then boom, spread in Europe. And then nobody really knows where it came from, but it may have come from, who knows? But bottom line is it spread out from there. It started calling it the Spanish flu. The first wave was really bad and deadly. The second wave was catastrophic. And we're only in the very front part of the first wave of this one. We're on the very front edge of the first wave of this one. Bear that in mind. That's why I keep saying stock up on food, stock up on water, have ability to filter your water. Like I use this Catadine. I've used the same one, man, since 2002. Same filter, man. I got the bottom of it off because I was drying it out. I've used the same filter since I've not even changed the filter since 2002. When I say the same filter, I mean like this is the same thing, man. It's like this is right the way it came out of the box, and I still use it. But so actually get stuff that's gonna last too. Don't get this cheap crap. Get good stuff. Like Catadine filter is good. If you see me with like this shirt, it's because it's good. You know what I mean? I got to go to combat with it. You see me with this flashlight, the Surefire a Defender flashlight. That's a badass flashlight. It's a great flashlight for its size. You know what I mean? You can It's bright. It's very bright. Shine it in your eyes. Sorry about this. Hey, look, do a test here. I'm a cop. See, it's very bright, and also you can fight with it. It's got this little gnarly end on it, and it fits right in your hand just right. And it's very tough. If you get everything that's that you want to be able to rely on it when your life is on the line. You want to make sure that you can rely on it, and and it even comes with an extra bulb in the bottom. I don't even know why I'm showing you that, but that's just I just get the right stuff to start with, and then I don't have to worry about it. I want it to work when I need it. You know what I mean? Or my headlamps. Oh, I got lights and candles and everything all over the house. I always do. When I go to wars, I get the best headlamps and the best. I don't even know what kind this one is. Black diamond. But before I got these a long time ago. But before I bought a few more, because I was going off to Hong Kong and I thought I might have to live out in the jungle out there or something if the Chinese actually attacked. So I bought more better lights to stash around and stuff like that. And you want lights that have that I checked the reviews on that, and I checked everything I could, tested one, then I bought several more so that I could stash them everywhere. Okay. Julie, we're going to lose power? Maybe. Is this going to start a world war? Anything could, but hopefully not. I'm sure it's going to start some wars. It's hard to imagine that we're going to get through this without some wars kicking off. It doesn't necessarily mean that the United States will be in those wars. It's actually kind of difficult to imagine getting through this without some wars kicking off. And remember, famines. Back in January, back when this first kicked off, I was like, this will lead to famines. Now I see people finally starting to realize that. Now I see people finally starting to realize that this will actually probably, I think the chance that this will lead to some famines is very high. But again, not necessarily within the United States. I would not count on any strategic food stores from the United States. We don't even have a strategic mask supply. We've been told all of our lives that there's some strategic food supply and Daddy will take care of us if everything goes bad. I would not count on that. And besides that, do you want to go stand in line behind an army truck? If you're standing in line to get fed by soldiers, that's a bad deal, man. That's not a life you want to live in. So get to your hard points. I don't know what information you're talking about. I scratched my head. Every time I touch my face or head, I have to say that out loud so that yeah, the locust swarms don't help the food supply. Yeah, there has been locust swarms in Africa, been going on for a while, and Pakistan, which is going to, like China offering to send 100,000 ducks. Did they send the ducks to Pakistan? So I mean, these food issues are all these other problems are significant. Yeah, the buffalo line. Greg, on my gear, I had it sent back. Let's see. How many millions of Americans starved during the Great Depression and Dust Bowl? I don't know. I know it's probably not many starved to death. Actually, I don't know, but probably not many. But a lot of people will die of poverty because poverty in and of itself will lead to all sorts of calamities, and so whether it's increased crime, you can count on a significant increase of crime. The United States isn't Japan. I mean, if everything falls apart in Japan, the crime rate probably going to be like flatline, probably about the same. Everything, as soon as the police are off the streets in some American communities, it's Planet of the Apes. Everything's gone complete madness. It's gone. It's shootouts, rapes, burning cities down, that sort of thing. And then in other parts of the United States, it'll be very cooperative, very peaceful. You don't even need a gun. You know what I mean? And so it depends on where you're at. Oh yeah, I would eat those locusts and grasshoppers, man. I would just eat them. Hey Jay, hope everything's good in Hong Kong. You are awesome. You are awesome. We've been out in those streets a lot during the fighting with those dirty communist loving police, Hong Kong police. I don't know what Terry's saying there. Hello from Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, I hope everything's good there, Jay. I know you guys are fighting those dirty communists. Uh, Alan says there is no bread, so I bought the ingredients. Make our own damn bread. That's because you're in Western North Carolina. You guys know how to do everything. Um, uh, Sam Edwards says Les Stroud says humans can easily survive functionally for 10 days without food. I'll up that. I've done it. I've gone 20 days without food. 20 days without one bite of food. And that's nothing. It's easy. You can do it. You can do it. And 10 days is a joke. 10 days with no food is like nothing. Unless you don't have any fat, or if you have some precondition. Type 1 diabetes may be a problem. Type 2, well, read Dr. Jason Fung's books on that. I've read 3 of his books, I think 3. But I would not, if you're as fat as a lot of Americans are, 10 days without food, that's going to be good for you. You're going to be perfectly fine. You need water, take your multivitamins, and get you some vitamin D. But you don't want to weaken yourself either if we're going to have to. But obesity actually is a problem. The scientists the doctors are saying now that's one of the chief factors of death in this disease is obesity. So now's the time to lose weight. Obesity, the doctors are saying, is killing people from this disease. Maybe we should do a fast right now and knock some fat off of people. Let's see. Michael, would everything be okay by the end of 2020? I would like to go back to Bangkok, Thailand to visit my family, but worried that it might not be safe to travel then. I don't know. My guess is that the airlines will be open again by then, because we're all going to have peaked out by then. And so my guess is that it will be open again, but the world will be very different. Toy Stewart saying lots of tuberculosis during the Great Depression. The crime picture was confused by the increase in crime associated with prohibition. Yeah, imagine both things going on at once. Jennifer Hack saying in Spain, the government has started to requisition the private hospitals to use for everyone. Do you see that happening elsewhere? I would guess in the United States, they'll start doing things like, buying hotels or renting the entire hotel, or using schools is an obvious one, right? Many of our facilities, ever since I was a kid, were made for second duty. Like it seems as I was a kid, I remember, because our previous generations, I think the way they think, because they're the ones that taught me, right? And their thinking was everything should have a second use at a minimum. Like your school should be able to be used as a hospital. And a lot of people today would be like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And you're like, no, that's knowledge from our elders, and we need to pay attention. It's like, and so a lot of the things that we have in the United States, for instance, many of our highways, you'll see are in Germany as well. Many highways are made to be runways for the Air Force or the Navy or whatever to land their airplanes if they need to. Like there's highways all across the United States that we can land, huge airplanes on, or fighter jets or whatever. And so, and all they have to do is close the highway, clear off any FOD, like stones or whatever, and land F-18s right there. You know what I mean? Refuel them and take off. So I mean, a lot of the things that we have around the United States have second uses actually. I don't know how many people actually have inventoried that for their hometown. Like in my hometown of Winter Haven, Florida, I know like the school I went to elementary school was Elbert Elementary School. That was a really nice school. That I'm sure that could be used as a hospital. I mean, if it was the way it was when I went to school there, and that was 500 years ago. I went to Northeast, and I also went to Jewett, and I went to Winter Haven High School. All of those schools, and I went to the First Presbyterian Church for kindergarten. All those places are really nice places. I look at the schools that I went to. I didn't realize I had it so good, man. Those schools were nice. Our teachers were good. Our coaches were good. I didn't realize that. I see people complaining about teachers all the time, and we had really good teachers. We had good teachers. We had good schools. Our schools were very comfortable, very well built. A lot of sunshine coming in. They were proper schools, man, made for education. Uh, yeah, Alan says we're at war, my friends. Jan is our general. Listen to him. Be ahead of the death curve. Yeah. Well, you're in Western North Carolina. Y'all be completely fine. Actually, I want to say it again. I lived in Andrews for like 2 years. You know where Andrews is at? It's down the road from you because you're not far from there. And if things really did hit the fan, that's the kind of place I would want to go out and live. Now, as you know, it's a lot of Irish culture out there, and so they'll be kind of xenophobic, and like outsiders coming in, as you know. And but that's also that's there's a lot of safety out there. They'll have a lot of they'll because y'all look out for each other. Like every time there's like an ice storm or something, and trees fell on the road, nobody's waiting for the county to come clean up. Who cares, man? They're coming out with their chainsaws and their trucks, and everything's cleared off instantly. Everybody's out shoveling their neighbors. Oh, I gotta go to Miss Johnson's house because she's like 80 years old, so I gotta shovel the snow out in front of her porch. They just help each other. They just remember I gotta go help Miss Johnson. You know what I mean? Everybody helps everybody, and everything will be good. If everybody helps just one person, you're good to go. The best place to get vegetable seeds, I don't know. I got some pepper seeds just yesterday. I just happened to have them sitting here. I didn't think I was going to show them. I was looking up better ways to plant them, actually. I like peppers, and but just look online because that's going to change too depending on where you're at. That's going to depend on where you're at, because your conditions for growing will be highly dependent on where you're at. And if there's any farmers and stuff around, they're going to know all that stuff. Ask the old lady down the street. She knows. Let's see. For years, I learned this since I was a kid. If you want to know something, you find the oldest person you could find and you go ask them. So I was always asking like old ladies and old men, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And they'll be like, oh, here, let me show you. Like, so don't ever discount how much is in their heads, Like, I found these blood trails at my house in Chiang Mai some years ago, and it was like horrific. It looked like there'd been a murder outside. There was like blood up on the second story. I'm like, oh my gosh, like somebody was hatcheting somebody or macheting them, right? And I tracked it, I tracked and I was like, what's going on here? I can't figure this out. And so I was like, what's going on? It looks like somebody was murdered in my yard. And so I went to the oldest lady I could find, my neighbor, and I took her over and I was like, what's going on here? She's like, oh, that's from the bananas. Somebody was harvesting the bananas and they chopped down the banana trees. And she's like, I was like, one of the first things you learn in tracking, like combat tracking, is a lot of things look like blood and blood looks like a lot of things. And so they had come down and hacked down and harvested bananas and chopped down some of the trees. And that sap, when you get that banana sap, it's clear. But if you get the banana sap on you, like your shirts or something, or get it on your driveway or on your house, I got it on my house. If you get it on your house, it'll look like freaking chainsaw massacre happened, right? So it'll look like you got covered in blood, but after it dries out. So at first it's just clear because it feels like snot, It's like go out to a banana tree and you'll see what I mean, and cut a little bit of it and put it on something white that you don't care about, and you'll see it. It'll eventually, when it dries out, it'll look like a blood stain. But just find the old. When I found her, she started laughing at me. She's Thai. She started laughing. She's like, she's an older lady. She's like, no, it's just bananas. Like, don't you know anything? I'm like, well, now I do. After some tracking banana blood. And so, the Asian, not trying to be paranoid, but I've been following one of those prepper channel, and they predict there will be food shortage in the future. Do you reckon we need to stock up on some food just in case? Absolutely. Of course, that depends on your particular situation. Sorry, I was looking at something. That depends on your particular situation, how much you need. You should always have at least 1 month for every reason. But if you're living in an apartment in Manhattan and you might be closed in soon, yeah, I mean, I would want 4 months supply minimum. But if I'm a Bajau person in the Philippines and I got my boat and I'm out there fishing all the time, what the heck do I care? I got the whole chicken of the sea thing going. You know what I mean? There's birds out on that island over there. There's like, I know how to get food out of the sea. You know what I mean? For them, it might not be a big deal. Of course, they're probably not watching my live stream. Um, but yeah, like Jennifer says, still plant. It's still spring, but yeah, I would definitely plan on there being food shortages in some places for sure, and in some places famines. And in any case, you should stock up now because almost certainly food prices are going to go up in almost everywhere, is my guess. And so it's good to have stock up now. Stock up while the getting's good. Already rice prices are going up in Thailand, but the shelves are still full of rice here. But down in Bangkok, people were sending me a lot of pictures the last few days. Shelves just blown out. But here in Chiang Mai, it's like nobody's even shopping. Everything's full. Know where your farmers are. Know where your farmers are. Be prepared to buy directly from farmers. Yeah, man, I was tracking that banana blood, Jenna. I was really like, okay, I don't want to just go to the cops for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, but I was like, what happened here? I mean, it really looks like there was a murder, but I don't see any signs. I don't see like any clothes fibers. Like if you're hatcheting somebody with a machete, then there's probably gonna be clothes and stuff around that got ripped off and pieces of flesh and stuff. I mean, I've been in a lot of combat, so this kind of stuff is in my head. So I'm just like, there'll be probably with all this blood around here, there's gonna be some body parts around here somewhere. There's gonna be something, and I couldn't find any. And I didn't find any frothing or anything like that. And I was just like, what in the world is going on here? It was banana sap. But always remember, blood looks like a lot of things, and a lot of things look like blood. And that's why, I even wrote a dispatch about that from Afghanistan. Look up, if you want to look up more about the use of colored lights in combat, like blue lights, red lights, white lights, which color light you should use for different situations. Look up my dispatch. It's called, I don't know, Michael.Yon, Afghanistan, lights, combat, blood, blue, maybe like blue blood, not blue blood, with just like, or blue light, Michael.Yon, Afghanistan, lights. Find it. It's very interesting. I mean, I could go on about this for a while, but you'll find it. Melanie, I can't advise on that. Maybe some others can. Don Sakuda. Let's see. Body. Well, I mean, it looked like there was blood everywhere, but it wasn't. It was banana sap. Banana sap. But always remember, a lot of things look like blood, and blood looks like a lot of things. That's very important, especially if you're in combat tracking, or if you're a police officer. Of course, police will be able to come up with their other ways forensically to quickly tell if it's blood. Sorry. Could make a start with cat grass. Cat grass. What do you mean cat grass? Cat grass? Cat grass. Talking about catnip. Let's see. Iris Law. Hello in Hong Kong. Oh, I'm totally on board with helping Hong Kong. We're gonna smash the Chinese Communist Party one way or the other. We're gonna take their asses out. This virus is the commie virus. It's the kamikaze of viruses. Unfortunately, it's gonna hit a lot of us too. Oh yeah, when I was asking the old Thai lady about what I thought might be blood. Sorry, I was looking at my security cameras. Yeah, she was laughing at me. She was like, it's just bananas. Sam Edwards is saying, Iris, how has Hong Kong changed since the outbreak? Please answer that one, Iris. And when you answer it, I'm going to read it out loud because this is streaming out to different platforms. Robbie Roberts is saying, Germany is drawing down plans to bring its citizens home. Have you heard of the U.S. doing the same? Support from DOS. I don't know, but they should get home. If they want to get home, they need to get their butts home right now. They need to get home. I've been saying that since January. But see, I was saying it back when it was easy to do. I was saying stock up when the food prices were still normal, right? They're already going up in some places. Sorry, I'm checking cameras. So, but now already, for instance, in Thailand, rice prices are going up. Oh, Jay Lamb is saying, yeah, yes, catnip. Apologies for my bad English. Actually, it's probably perfect English, but I speak American, and you got that. Y'all got that British thing going because you're Hong Kong. And I'm American. We had that British thing going, but then we fought them out in 1776, and y'all didn't do it until more like long centuries later. You didn't fight them out, of course. Actually, I highly respect British, but we had to go our separate ways. Sir Dip is saying, Mike, what was the name of that helicopter in the desert dust? Cop Etchel's effect that you observed and named back in the sandbox. Cop Etchel's effect. Actually, I would like to put it up behind me, but that means I have to print it out, and it's not as easy as you think. I don't have just a printer; I can just print it out. It's an involved process, so it's not. But what I want to get is a green screen, if you know what I mean. Actually, if somebody wants to donate and send me this, here, I'll give you an opportunity to help me out a lot. It's about roughly $2,000. I can send you the link, and it's not just a green screen, but I'll send you the link. If somebody wants to donate this thing, it'll give me the ability to put up all kinds of stuff that are anyway, it can make things more interesting. I can send you a link. It costs less than $2,000, but roughly $2,000, close to that. And it'll allow me to put up like stuff behind me, not just on my screen. So anyway, I'll send you the link and you'll know what I mean. But Cop Etchel's effect. Thanks, Serdip. And when I named it the Cop Etchel's effect, that is like the name now. It's like that's the name that it's called around the world. It's been called that in Smithsonian and I think Ripley's Believe It or Not and all over the place. And you can just look up Cop Etchel's effect, helicopter effect on the rotors. Cop is KOPP and then space Etchel's ETCHELLS. And I named it that because there was no name for that effect on the glowing rotors in the helicopters in the sand. And I asked many pilots, physicists, engineers, the whole works. There was no name for it. So I said, well, it needs a name because it's important in some situations. So I was like, what should I name it? So there were two soldiers. One was Etchel's. He was in the British unit that I was in. He got blown up one day and he was killed. And rest in peace, Etchel's. And then Joseph Etchel's. And then Benjamin Kopp was an American Army Ranger, and he was also killed. He was shot in a firefight. I was not with his unit. But then when Benjamin Kopp was brought back to the United States and he died, he was an organ donor. His heart actually went to a woman who needed it, who happened to be a friend of his mother, weirdly. And so she lived. So people have asked her later, they're like, how do you feel about, having Benjamin's heart? And she's like, I feel great. I have the heart of a ranger beating in my heart. I mean, Benjamin died, but he gave his organs up, and his mother's friend actually got his heart. And so she was, she survived because Benjamin died. So I named it the Kopp Etchel's effect. I named it after Benjamin Kopp, who died and gave his heart, literally. And Joseph Etchel's, who was a highly respected British soldier who was blown up one day by an IED during a mission. Kopp Etchel's effect. Look it up. You can look up Kopp Etchel's effect, and you can see my photos. That Mark Steppenback. Any intel on whether China ever came back online with their factories? Them saying, okay, think about it, Mark. Their markets are mostly not domestic. They're mostly export, right? In the United States economy, Europeans and the rest of the world are getting smashed right now, right? So even if they got all their factories going again, who are they going to sell to? This is why I say China as we know it, the Chinese Communist Party as we know it, is dead. The one that we knew before, It no longer exists. I mean, it's going to be a ghost soon. I mean, the whether or not it will still exist on some core, I don't know, but it won't be as powerful. It won't have the economy to continue to build islands and the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. It won't have the clout to do the things that it had before. It won't have any sort of clout. And that's why President Trump made a great move on calling this the China virus. Actually, I wish he would call it Xi's disease. And I wish he would call it, if President Trump gets it called Xi's disease, maybe I'll make a T-shirt out of it. And, and Xi's disease, and because we need to prepare Americans to decouple. And one is when Americans realize what really happened to us and why, they'll probably stop buying Chinese products. A lot of them will just traumatically stop buying. When I say traumatic, I mean it'll be trauma to the Chinese economy if people are just doing long-term boycotts. But there's going to be forced boycotts anyway as our economy collapses, right? So we're going to go through this period before we can restart our own world. First, we got to go through it. We haven't gotten to it yet. We're still very far from the peak of the virus. We're like the peak in some part of the United States will probably be in May. But then in other places are just really getting started now. So it's going to have different peaks in different parts of the country, right? It's going to ripple. It's going to be all over the place. So Jay Lamb is saying Hong Kong has become so very quiet since the outbreak, just the opposite compared to the time of protests. But there still have been a lot of protests, as you know. They're just not as big as they were. And that's what they're not protesters. They're freedom fighters in Hong Kong. And the Americans got to stick with our Hong Kong allies. But we have our own problems to deal with right now, and Hong Kongers understand that. The United States has got to take care of the United States right now. Germany has to take care of Germany, and Australia is going to have to take care of Australia, and we're going to have to all work together. But we're going to have to man our own forts at this point for a while. And then once we fight through this, let's join battle again and finish off this Chinese Communist Party. I mean, finish them off. Finish them off. Coup de grace. And we can do it. Yeah, I named the Cop Echo effect after 2 fallen soldiers. Jay Lamb, she says, there was a really nice album by Flash Media Hong Kong, which captures completely empty public transport. It's not the Hong Kong government that helped put the lid on this virus in Hong Kong. It's the cultural discipline of Hong Kongers. High education level, cognizant of what happened during SARS, social discipline, cultural discipline, so many people wearing masks, so many people keeping distance, so many people, doing what they needed to do that kept it down. Don Sakuda, I've been trying not to buy Chinese products for years. Yeah, I know. See, I got a problem with that. There's a lot of times I don't buy Chinese products because they are Chinese. But look, I'm in the Apple ecosystem. So many people sending messages here. I shouldn't have picked up that phone. Somebody, who's calling me? And so I've been into the. Oh, I wonder if this is some officials in Thailand about the disease. Okay. Interesting stuff going on. Let me see what I'm able to say here. Okay. Oh, okay. Just more people that I know getting this disease. I know at least 2 now. That's strange that it's that many. It's not strange because we know that America has a lot more than is being reported. These are American cases, not Thai. We know that there's a lot more than is being reported. This very super crystal clear. The United States numbers on the disease, I would say at this point, this may sound weird, but our numbers are less reliable than China's. How reliable are China's? Like 0. And the American numbers. See, that's a problem, Don Sakuda. I got into this Apple ecosystem before I realized how deeply in bed they are with China, and I would just love to jump right out of it. Yeah, Trump Tubbingdale from a Covert Action. Covert Action is a good book. Okay, black light. Are you talking about for tracking? I got a black light right here for tracking. Um, make sure you clean up your crime scenes, I guess. Let's see. Joe Chang, I'm looking for any questions that I can answer. Okay. Daniel Voice, my friend in Australia. I guess you're in Australia. FCC statement on, was that the Foreign Correspondents Club, Canberra, on mass cancellations of U.S. journalist creds in China. Yeah, they've been canceling a lot. It's not just New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal. It was also Time, who did a story about me getting deported on February 5th. Time magazine did a story on my getting deported, which the authorities actually called not deported, but denied entry. I drank all my milk. I didn't drink all my milk. I got a lot of milk. I drank all the milk I had in that mason jar. So let's switch to coffee. Let me keep trying to answer questions here. We're just chatting. So, I mean, I don't want people to, be thinking I've got something big to say. We're just chit-chatting, keeping people busy. And I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from what's going on. Wei-Shan said, do tell Michael. Are you saying do tell Michael, like me tell, or somebody do tell me? That's where the commas come in, by the way. Commas. Have you ever read the book called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves? Eats, Shoots, and Leaves. That's a good book to read. It's a whole book on just the use of the comma, right? I read weird books like that. Like I read a book on the formation of the Oxford Dictionary. That was a great book. It was actually exciting. To me, it was exciting because I'm kind of geekish, actually. This is a really wild book on the form on making the first dictionary. It was incredibly difficult. It was very difficult. And but Eat, Shoots, and Leaves is a good and so when Wei-Shan just he leaves he Wei-Shan left a comment, do tell Michael, and if you put a comma and do after tell, do tell Michael, that would mean okay, do tell, that would mean for me to tell, right? Or you could say Michael, do tell. But when you leave it like that, it's proper English is you're maybe telling somebody else to tell me, if you know what I'm saying. Your English is as good as mine is, you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Geek alert, yeah. People could never figure out. They're like, are you a jock or a geek? I'm like, well, I'm not really a geek because my grades are terrible. But I study as much as any geek. That's for sure. Aris Law says, do you know what? There are missing and forced killed themselves cases. One might, two young people fall. It hurts. There are missing and forced killed them. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but I think you're talking about suicides in Hong Kong and missing cases. There are a lot of those. Yeah, I'm not adding milk to the coffee. I like my milk separate. Actually, I'll add milk to coffee sometimes, but I usually drink coffee black and milk alone, but sometimes I'll mix them. Hey, Needy in Arizona. We're just chatting now. We're beyond all the things I wanted to say up front. Mark Steffenbach is saying bad U.S. numbers based on infrastructure, incompetence, or propaganda, or all three. Oh, all the above. First of all, CDC is completely unprepared, and on every level, incompetent. And another is unprepared and incompetence. Those two things go together, right? There's that, and propaganda. It's clear that they're downplaying it. It's absolutely clear that they're downplaying it as much as China. Actually, at this point, I would say, because China was coming Yeah. Anyway, our numbers at this point, I would say, are actually even less reliable than China's, which is really difficult. I'm American, I don't like saying stuff like that, but it's just the way I'm seeing it. Wei Shan says, yes, I should have used the comma after tell. In any case, did you tell what the messages on your phone was about? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. It's just some. Uh, actually, there's quite a lot of messages here, and uh, there are some people. I mean, two of my friends right here. One of them, actually, let me send her a message right now and ask her if she wants to come on, and maybe we can get her, because I think she's got the disease. Let me send her a message right now, and she comes on my Facebook all the time, but let me. She's really was out in the fighting a lot. Let me see. I'm sending her a message right now. See if she can come online and talk about it. Okay. All right. Hold on just a second. If she does this, I might have to go offline, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if how I would do this. I might have to go offline and come back online to do it, or I might be able to just do it as we go, hooking up my phone to this system. Let's see. Let's see if she answers. All right, but I just sent her a message. Okay. M. Schmidt is saying, what do you think about the assumption that the virus will fade away in summer? Why is that said when Australia and Latam are hit too? Okay. No assumption on that. Some people are assuming, but the infectious disease experts are not assuming that. The infectious disease experts have been cautioning us persistently not to assume that this is going to dissipate with heat in the summer, because some of these diseases don't. Some do, some don't, and it's unclear at this point if this one is a do or a don't. We're gonna know soon enough. We're gonna know when our experts figure it out. Word Dunlap. Geeks bite the heads off chickens. Nerds can explain it. I can do both. Let's see. I mean, I got the. Yeah, Lori Hurst should not have allowed anyone in other countries, American or not, to come here sick. Oh, I agree. Let me see if my friend answered. I think she may have this. Oh, yeah, she did answer. Let me see. Let me see it now. She's asking me when I would like to do this. And I'm saying now. Let me see if there's a way to hook up my phone and do this hot fire. In other words, we do it on the march. Let me see. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Let me call her. Let's see if she'll come on right now. Hola, how you feeling? I can hear that you're out of breath. I'm live streaming right now, and people are asking. And then I saw you were talking about this, and I said, "Let me send you a message," which I just did. And so, I mean, you might want to say what's going on right now, but do you feel good enough to do it? All right, you grab some headphones, and I'll call you back, and we'll see if it works. Okay? I'll call you back. How long? How long do I need to give you? Okay. Can I say your name? Okay, and then you say what happened with the closure and all that came from it, please. I'll let you explain. I haven't said a word about the other things that you told me and the thing that it caused, the shutdowns and all that. So I'll let you explain it, okay? All right. I'll call you back. And you said how long before I call you back? Yep, just a few minutes. Got it. I'll call you back. Bye, Maddie. Okay. That's Maddie. I met her in Hong Kong. She was out in the fighting all the time. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. We'll try to get Maddie on the phone here. That means I need my earphones too. She's going to get her earphones. I need to go get my earphones. All right, so we'll get Maddie on the line. It sounds like Maddie. I'll let Maddie explain this. And Barbara saying, I would like you to talk more about discipline. You are a great role model, personable, enthusiastic, and genius discipline. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, we should talk about that. I need to go get my headphones, though, Barbara, so that we can get Maddie on the line here. And then we'll let her talk about what's going on. And there's more to her story that I didn't say because I wasn't sure what I can say. So give me about 2 minutes. Let's take a break. Everybody take about a 2 or 3 minute break. I'm going to go get my headphones and refill my coffee. And then we're going to call Maddie. How's that? Let's take about 3 minute break. Are you good with that? It's 11:50 right now. I'll be BRB. All right. Biden won Florida. Oh, my. Hey, Barney. Doing okay? Hey, Barney. Okay. Let's try to get Maddie on the horn here. Jenna Thacker saying, yeah, Florida government is pissing me off, refused to even acknowledge community spread until way too late. Really? I thought he was, I would be disappointed if he's behind it. I thought he was doing a good job as governor, but I'm not there tracking him day by day. So I hope that's not true. Okay. Let's see if we can get Maddie on the phone. I was reading. Yeah, okay, that works. Now, let's see if when I call Maddie, okay, we need to give her about 1 more minute. All right. I can hear the air conditioning in this. All right, let's see. Plenty of Costco shopper with poor memory. All right, we're about to call Maddie here, and we'll see. She may have G's disease, and we'll hear her story. She's told me some of it, but I didn't want to say it online without her permission. Okay, I'm gonna call her right now. There she is. Okay, I'm calling her right now. This will be my first live call. Can you hear the call online, everybody? Can you hear the ringing?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Maddie. I think you're live online right now. This is the first time I've done this, so let's see when people are saying whether they can hear you or not. So, hello, Maddie.
Okay.
Do you hear
How are
Maddie's
you
voice?
doing?
I'm doing
Oh,
fine. I want to see if people can. Hello in Alabama. Do you hear? Oh, okay, D boy. Do you hear Maddie's voice? Maddie, you can talk.
hi. Oh, okay. Don't want to interrupt anything in
Okay,
case I was
Barbara and
messing up.
others are saying they hear you. Great. All right, you're on. You're online, and so this is going out on numerous YouTube channels, and also going off to my numerous Facebook channels as well. So why don't you
Okay,
say?
awesome.
Why don't you say who you are? I've just said Maddie. I haven't said anything else other than you seem to have G's disease possibly, and then we met in Hong Kong. That's all I've said. So that's where they're coming at. You can say whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Madeline Kelly. I studied history in college and eventually plan on getting my PhD, but for the time being, I kind of am going the journalist route while I'm still young and more capable than I would be in the future. And as Mike said, we met in Hong Kong, and I left around December 20th, and I got back. And about a week ago, I was informed that I had come in contact with someone who has tested positive for the coronavirus. So, sorry, I'm getting out of breath, but I immediately got in contact with my doctor, um, figured out everything that I need to do, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to get any tests done. I haven't been able to really go in anywhere. And so I'm just kind of stuck at home in quarantine, out of breath, waiting till I can get something done. And when I'm in the US, I also work for a national organization. Unfortunately, I could, I don't know if I could be fired if I said what it was. They have some weird rules teaching after school programs. And when they found out that I was infected, they shut down all the state area councils. They're disinfecting the entire office, like a huge 4-story office building, and put about 9,000 people out of work at the moment throughout the state.
Due to your coming in contact. Okay, what state is this?
Colorado.
So in Colorado, and so it's a major organization. Actually, you've told me which it is, but you don't want to publicize it, so I won't say it.
Yeah,
But
just in case, because we
just in
can get
case,
fired
right?
for like
Uh,
going out to a bar with a shirt that has the logo.
but
So,
but I'm sure that everybody in the state knows it by now. So because 9,000
yeah,
people are out of work, right? So it should
yeah, I
be
put,
easy to figure out. Uh,
yeah, I put everyone in the office out of work, everyone who works in schools and like multiple buildings out of work a little bit, unfortunately.
Something of huge concern, though, is that you are unable to get in to the hospital, right?
Yeah, so I've been talking to my doctor, and progressively my symptoms have been a couple of them are ebbing and flowing. So the fever and the coughing kind of come and go. I haven't been having too much coughing, but I'm getting out of breath relatively quickly. Like just sitting here and talking is getting me out of breath. I usually walk around and pace. Um, just kind of general tightness. I've had pneumonia and pulmonary embolism, so it's kind of similar to like a I don't know how to describe it. Maybe like a crushing, squeezing feeling. And then like right after you run, when you're not fully out of breath, but you still can't quite catch it, is how it feels pretty consistently too.
Yeah, and you're pretty fit. You were out on the street fighting in Hong Kong as an observer and as a human rights
Yeah,
observer. So I saw you out on the streets with all the medics and whatnot. That's where we all got to get to know each other. All these medics and journalists, and so you're quite fit and you're quite young as well and strong.
yeah,
And so, but you're still having problems breathing.
yeah. Unfortunately, when I was 20, I had a pulmonary embolism that I actually should have died from, according to my doctors. So it kind of impacted the functioning of my right lung. So it's hitting me a bit harder. And even despite that, the doctor who I still go to was a diagnosing doctor, and they haven't really been able to get me any help. They just say if it gets worse, go into the ER, and that's about the most information I've gotten, unfortunately. And
Unbelievable.
then I'm
And
yeah, and then I'm a presumptive positive, one of the first 100 in the state.
one
So
of the first hundred in Colorado to, but you have not been tested positive, right?
yeah, so last Friday they declared me a presumptive positive, So with all the symptoms and the contact, they just assume I'm positive at this point and are just waiting to clear it.
But not 100%, just presumptive. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, okay. And how old are you now?
I'm 22.
Right. So you're 22. You're quite fit. I mean, I've seen you running around on the streets of Hong Kong. You're definitely fit. And so you're going to make it through, but obviously you could be sick here, as you know. And
Yeah, and yeah, I help a friend with his medical diagnostic company.
Right.
His cancer came back, so he needed some help. So he is on chemo again and heavily immune compromised. And my best friend has type 1 diabetes. So I don't really have anyone else in the state. So the two people who can go out and get me food can't come near me.
Wait a minute.
So hopefully it doesn't last too long.
So okay, do you have enough food?
Yeah, I'm fine. But just in case if I get really sick, I'm kind of stuck for the moment.
What kind
unfortunately.
do you not have a support base there, or?
I don't have any family out here. I just have a couple of friends. But thankfully, I'm actually a couple blocks away from Denver Health, the main hospital. So I'll be fine.
So you're a couple blocks away from the Denver Health Hospital? Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody on my line here that's probably down the road from you, given how many people are on my Facebook and YouTube. What about insofar as medicines? Do you have anything? Are you taking anything? Or I hear you coughing.
They haven't. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting slightly out of breath. They haven't really given me anything yet. I actually just got word not. I think CDC or someone declared that ibuprofen and Advil can make things worse. So currently I'm just kind of going solo for now, just to make sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that they have strongly warned against those medications and others. And so it's important for everybody to look on the CDC. Even though CDC has been unreliable on other things, I would trust them on this, on saying which medicines you should not take. And those were a couple of those do not takes and could cause severe problems.
Yeah. So unfortunately, those are the big fever breaking medicines. So I'm just kind of tossing and turning when I'm lying down between hot and cold with the blankets.
Is there anything that anybody can do for you there that you need that you're not getting?
I'm okay. Thankfully, I actually have been, since I got back and I heard about the virus starting, every time I went to the grocery store, I brought extra food.
Right.
To store away just in case. So thankfully, I'm okay for now. I got probably 4 pounds of pork chops in my freezer.
4 pounds. I did the pork chop thing too, and you're not
they're
even.
They're good and they're cheap.
Yeah, but they make everything taste better. Yeah, and always get you some bacon too. But if there's anything that you need, you know how to reach me, and we'll make it happen. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For instance, you can go shopping like on Amazon and send a list or whatever. We'll make it happen instantly.
Thank you.
So
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you know how to reach me, and you've never called me before, but I just called you this way so you could just ping it right back, and I think it would actually make my phone ring.
Yeah, it rings like a normal call on my phone, just like with a different ringtone.
Okay, right. So yeah, I'm surprised this call went through so easily. It was like magic. So is there anything else that you think is important for others to know about this?
I had to do laundry today, and my apartment has a communal laundry room. So I wore gloves, brought disinfectant spray, and wore a mask, and made sure I went down when no one else was down there. But before this, I was wearing face masks out before, and honestly, I highly recommend it. I know there's question on whether or not it works, but it's not necessarily whether or not it prevents you from getting it. It prevents, like, if you are asymptomatic positive, you from spreading it. And honestly, I just recommend it. It looks weird, it feels weird, but
yeah,
it's a little bit more. I got a lot of weird looks.
Yeah.
people asking me why I was wearing a mask, and I was like,
All right.
because I'm not gonna risk
Yeah,
anything.
I would actually recommend not even leaving your. You're in an apartment or something. I would recommend not even leaving that at this point. Uh,
Yeah.
not don't. Hey, one person you might want to follow. His name is Dr. John Campbell. He's an English doctor, and he talked about which medicines you should not take. For instance, the medicines that you named. He did that just like 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago, on one of his podcasts on YouTube.
Okay.
He's become super popular in about the last month, and a lot of people listening to him, and I'm watching his shows as
Yeah.
well. And so he's a good one to watch. And
Okay. I believe you sent it to me.
did I send it to you already?
Yeah, I believe it
Okay,
was on
good.
YouTube.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, he's a good one to. Oh yeah, I think I sent that to you about the medicine already. Um, but definitely, if you need something, you know how to reach me. And if you need anything, if you want to say anything else, let me see if there's any questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Let me see. Is there any questions for Maddie here? I see a lot of people saying get better, Maddie, and giving you basically high fives and thumbs up. There's a lot. You probably can't see it because I
Thank
doubt
you.
you're not even online, are you?
No, I'm just talking on the phone with you to make sure
Okay.
that nothing's jumbled.
Let's see here. The signal is incredibly good. Actually, it's almost like we're next door.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's any questions for Maddie, well, I'll pass them on. Do you have a fever? Actually, I was going to ask you that too. Do you have a thermometer? Have you been checking your temperature and writing it down every hour?
Yeah, I've been checking. I'm up and down with the fever. Right now I'm between like 99 and 100. And then sometimes, like the other day, I got up to 101.
Um,
But it's just kind of like sometimes I feel feverish, other times I don't.
make sure to write it down every hour so that you can present that to the doctor if you walk over there. If you go to the hospital, where you
Yeah,
walk over, it's that close, right? Or can you
yeah.
or let's see. Let's see. Somebody, I'm not going to offer medical advice here, but somebody saying to buy an oximeter, and I'm not going to offer any medical advice at all because I'm not a doctor. But there are definitely people offering to help you in case you need something, to hit like an Amazon wish list and that sort of thing.
Oh,
We'll
thank you. I
definitely get you
appreciate
squared
it.
away. Definitely. I'm looking
Yeah,
for other. Wow, I wish you were
yeah,
online so you could read some of these questions because there's a lot shooting past here.
yeah. I plan on right after getting cleared. My friend who works for a medical device company, I don't know if you knew this, but I have medical experience in hospice, both administrative and in the lab.
Right.
So I was debating volunteering with a corona testing company just to help manpower with tests because no one really wants to do it. And I'll
Huh.
be more immune to it than not.
Here's a question from Diane Parker Shermer. How long between the contact with the infected person and when you started having symptoms?
Um, so it was Monday the 9th, I believe, and then that Thursday, I felt like I had like a cold coming on,
Monday the
and
9th?
then yeah, and then
Okay.
Friday is when it really hit me, and that's when I was informed and let my bosses know as well. So
Okay.
about 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days onset of symptoms. So that was 9th of March, and today's the 18th. Okay. I'm taking a note here. Uh,
Yeah.
um, there's some really important questions here. Debo is asking, are you in contact with any authority besides your doctors?
Um, I have been talking to my work, and my work has been talking with, I believe the CDC, but mostly everything is going through my doctors.
And okay, make sure that you do make a sick journal. Don has mentioned yeah, it is important. Toy Stewart is asking if you have a Buterol inhaler, but I don't know what those are for, so I'm not. I have no idea, so I'm not
Yeah, no,
advising.
I don't have any inhalers.
Surdip is asking if you made. saying if you make a public Amazon wish list, we could help her remotely. So if you get into like a food problem or something, I would suggest not washing your clothes outside at this point at all. Do you have
Yeah.
where you're at? Can you get sunshine?
Unfortunately, no, I'm in a garden level and the only windows are facing another building.
Uh,
So
okay.
been
Well,
living in a dungeon for a
yeah.
week.
So you're in a dungeon for a week. Well, that's all right. I'll bring you back on and you can talk to everybody. But next time you can actually be online first and you can watch when people's questions come in and then you can answer them yourself. Okay, here's Deb Deli's asking, do you have chills and then fever?
Um, it's kind of, yeah, so like if you've, I don't mean to compare it to the flu, but like if you've ever been sick with the flu or something that gives you a fever like strep throat, how you kind of switch back and forth between drenched in sweat cold and then drenched in sweat hot. It's kind of both. So like now I'm kind of drenched in sweat hot and then in 30 seconds or 20 minutes I could be freezing again.
Are you writing all that down?
Yeah, I have a little spot that I've been putting it all.
And you write it down like the date and time as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got in contact with the National Executive Board for my job, and they've been having me write everything down for them and get everything set. So
What was your highest temperature?
it was like 101.8.
101.8. And was your highest temperature, right?
Yeah.
And Glenn Mostier, what were your absolute first symptoms?
Just kind of like a weird tightness in my chest.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as it is now, but just kind of like it. I don't know how to explain it. It felt like a really smoky day, if that makes sense. Like if you've ever been in an area with a lot of wildfires, like Colorado.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's smoky, you can kind of feel like a slight tension in your chest, and then
Right.
just kind of a general uh, sorry, I'm trying to think of the word. I'm very out of it. Just a general kind of gross feeling. Like you don't feel anything specific, but you're just kind of feeling off.
How are you sleeping?
Um, I don't normally sleep well, but again, just tossing and turning in fever dreams.
Uh, How many hours a night are you sleeping?
Um, I sleep during the day too, so daily about 9 hours, but off and on 3, 4 hours at a time. And yeah, that's how it normally is for me, but usually it's more consolidated with the gaps in between sleeping, but now it's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that's actually, and Don Sakuda, yes, March 9th is what Maddie said. Maddie said March 9th is when she came in contact. But when was the first symptom? That was 4 to 5 days later on that Friday, right? What was March 9th?
Yeah,
Was that a
that
Monday?
Thursday.
Okay, so on Thursday, let's see. I'm looking at my clock here. When was March 9th was oh shoot, I've just messed something up. March 9th uh
Monday,
was a
and then
Monday.
Thursday
Okay.
the 12th, I started feeling kind of off. But I work with kids, so I just assumed one of them gave me something else because, hate to say it, but kids will give you every kind of sickness there is.
So you've
They're a
been
little germy.
symptomatic since about the 13th.
Yeah.
So Ron Savaris since about the 13th. Okay. And Ron, I'm not going to even pass that along. Maddie can look up on. I'm not going to offer Maddie medical advice on what she should do. I'll let her read that though. There's a lot of people saying, things that you should do, but I can't get in the business of giving medical advice. That would be like malpractice, and I'm not even a doctor. So,
Yeah.
so you know what I'm saying. But the comments will all be on my pages. All right, say John Miller. Let's see. Um, he you know how to use an oximeter, right?
Is that for oxygen level in the blood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Numerous people have asked about that, about whether you can take those, but you probably don't have one of those hanging around in your closet, I'll bet.
I think I might actually, from when I had that embolism. I'll have
Right.
to check though.
Why don't you dig in there and check? It can't hurt. And so and then ask your doctor if that would be any good to be writing that down. Do you have a hotline to your doctor?
Yeah, I do, thankfully. And then yeah, I just have a couple of friends who are also emergency medicine doctors and pulmonologists.
Megan,
so I got a couple of routes.
Megan is saying we can pay for your laundry service. I was going to offer that too, but then I was thinking before I said that your laundry is going to be infected. And so that'll be just like you walking down the street with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you're really just going to have to be inside. I would not go to the laundromat. I think you just need to stay inside, and we can send all kinds of people your way to bug you and like keep you awake and chat with you all day and night, so you're not lonely. Come on to my Facebook. Go online right now and come on my Facebook, so people can see your. Are you near your computer?
Yeah, let me pull it.
You can go on your computer and then you can come onto my main page and leave a comment, and then people can see who you are and be in direct communication with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I just did it.
Great. You see my podcast live right now?
I do, yeah.
Great. Then you can go to the bottom of the comment and say, "Hello, this is Maddie." And then people can actually, you won't be lonely, I'll tell you that much. You'll have a lot of very kind people talking with you. So that's good.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's a very good start.
I just sent it out. So.
Okay, let me see if you're. Yeah, there it is, Madeline Kelly. It just came up there. All right, this is Madeline from phone call. Right there, you can see her if you flack Pappy's on top of there. Add close to. If you scroll down to the bottom of the comments on my main Facebook page, you'll see Madeline Kelly, and it says, "This is Madeline from the phone call." And then there's Don saying aloha from Hawaii. Don's in Hawaii. You're on Oahu.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. I always thought it'd be fun.
Hawaii is awesome. It's the most.
I used to want to be a volcanologist as a kid, and I always thought it'd be awesome. So.
Here's Wei Shan. I think Wei Shan's in Malaysia saying get well. And
well, thank you.
And Diana, hello. Or I'll let you read them. You can. I'll stop intervening here. Michael Wong, are you over in Hong Kong, Michael? I think you might have met Michael on the streets. Michael Wong of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, John Jones is saying you're not seeing her feed, but you might be on a different one of my Facebook pages.
Yeah.
And so, but if you scroll up and you'll see Madeline Kelly here, I'll put Madeline here. There she is. She's now on the bottom of my screen. Look on the bottom of my screen. It says Madeline Kelly. This is Madeline from the phone call. Maybe just search for her, and then you'll find her.
Oh. Okay. Yep. I think I got it all set up now.
Yeah, there's Madeline. There, that's Madeline right there. It's me. All right, good.
Oh.
All right, so maybe some people will start PMing you, and
yeah, I've got a few already.
and oh, good. Okay. This makes me feel better. Now we got you hooked in, and so there's some really great people come on my Facebook.
And then I saw a question, Wexian Tell. I was on a stream before, actually, during one of the protests.
Oh, you were on my stream, you mean?
Yeah, he was asking if he was on your stream before, and I said yes.
I think you were on more than once, weren't you? You were always out there. I think
so.
You were out there all the time.
Yeah.
You and
I didn't miss one if I could.
Did you ever get hit with a rubber bullet?
I haven't gotten a rubber bullet. I've gotten pepper sprayed, tear gassed.
You were
punched,
getting tear
almost
gas. I didn't even
arrested.
ask you about tear gas because I know you were getting tear gassed all the time.
Yeah, everyone
You were
got
getting,
tear gas.
you were getting smashed.
I got I got pepper bullets, but I think my favorite was getting punched and
Oh, that's
them
right. I
breaking my
forgot
lens
about that. One of them punched you in the back, right?
in the back of my head, like right where my neck meets my skull. Gave me a
These
really good concussion.
cops, these Hong Kong cops, man, they're just like you saw them. Nobody has to tell you. You know exactly what they're doing. They punched you in the back of the neck. It's unbelievable. They
Yeah.
were doing it all the time. Like it's like thousands of times they were doing stuff. Not even dozens, not hundreds, thousands and thousands, beating the crap out of especially young Hong Kongers and hit you.
Yeah.
And you only weigh about $110, so it's not like they're beating up a giant man. It's like why do they need to hit you? You know?
Yeah. It was quite funny. They also I believe I sent you the video of them slamming Cody and I down the street with riot shields. They broke my lens cap, unfortunately. So
they broke
thankfully the camera was fine.
The police broke your lens cap. Where's Cody? Is he out to sea right now?
I believe he was on a pearl ship for a while, but he just got off today. So I don't know if he knows what's been going on fully, but he said he would call me later to see how I'm doing.
Actually, yeah, if he's not tracking, because he might have been out to sea with the merchant marines and all that, so he's probably not even knowing what's going on.
I don't think he has any idea. He was supposed to go see his girlfriend in the UK or go to Australia, but his roommate in Australia is also a presumptive positive, so
wait a minute.
Go home.
Who's presenting positive in Australia?
Cody's roommate.
Oh, Cody's roommate. Well, that means now Cody. So
Cody hasn't gone home yet since he got infected. He's going to be stuck at a hotel.
Eventually it's going to be all of us, or most of us. I'm glad that you've actually got it right now, because I think in a couple of weeks from now it will be worse. If you have to be hospitalized in 2 or 3 weeks from now, you might not get in. If you have to go in the next few days, at least you can get in.
It's not overwhelmed here yet. It's starting to get stretched, but not too bad.
Yeah. So I mean, now it's either now or later is the time to get it. Nobody's going to want to get it when most people get it. That's when. Sertup is asking, do I remember one of the YouTube posts in Hong Kong where Maddie is senior spoken to? Lord, no, because I was out there all the time, and so was Maddie, and so I just see her. I
remember there was one like December 15th or 16th on a live stream.
You got a good memory. December 15th or 16th, and
and it was when I lost my voice and I was hospitalized in Hong Kong.
Oh, I remember that. That's right, because we all stopped what we were doing to check it out, and then to check if you were okay, and then Cody came up to check it out, and you were good to go.
Yeah, because
and then you came right back to fighting, and you came right back on the streets.
Yeah, a day or so before that, I got stuck in the styrofoam smoke fires that protesters set.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That you didn't have your mask.
My shoes are still burned.
Your shoes are still burned. Keep them. There was so much stuff that happened out there. It's amazing that I've already forgotten it. There was just so much. There was I remember you got that styrofoam and oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun night. No one was out because everyone was asleep. It was like 3 a.m. and no one thought anything was going to happen.
Yeah, it was so much. There's so many. You can see a lot of people sending you comments here. Actually, I'll let you field the comments as you.
Oh, okay.
As you can see them coming on here. Hello from Japan. I go Todoroki. Hope everything's great in Japan. I think Japan is also handling it well, as best as I can tell.
Yeah. Please get hospitalized as soon as possible. Thankfully, I don't think I'm gonna have to be hospitalized. Don't want to. I mean, I'm feeling relatively fine. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, and you are young and quite strong. Remember, some of the doctors are saying that you'll have this first wave of symptoms, and then you may feel like you're getting better, and then the next wave will be worse. So be cognizant of
Yeah.
that. So be highly cognizant of, you start feeling better, the worst might still be coming.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been waiting for too. I've been talking to Alec from Hong Kong as well, and he said around 7 or 8 days it'll pick up again. So hopefully this is the second bout because it's
Yeah.
not pleasant.
Actually, can you put your name up one more time? Because I want to say this is Maddie on the phone call again. That way, I want to click it on and put your name on the bottom again.
Yeah.
So there you go. If anybody's got any questions for Maddie, type them in right now, and she can read them. So this is a perfect opportunity. Like Tommy's asking if you have congestion.
Not congestion in the normal sense of like sniffly and kind of full of gunk.
Right.
Just for some reason a weird tight feeling. Yeah, it's weird to explain. It's kind of like pneumonia without the stuff coughing up with it.
So it's like pneumonia without the bogey wogey too.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
like
even know
pneumonia without the snot.
do you even know that song? Let's see. Probably not, because you're 22, right? It's an old song.
Yeah.
Actually, that song was even old when I was a kid. Okay, Don Sakuta's asking sinus pressure.
Not that I've noticed really. Yeah, I haven't really felt anything sinus. And then I saw Flack Pappy asked if my throat was ever sore and neck achy. No more than usual. My neck is pretty consistently achy just from weird sleeping positions, but I never really had a sore throat. And then Don Sakuda again asked if I had a dry cough. Yeah. Thankfully the cough has kind of subsided, except for when I take deep breaths. So if I really breathe in, it kind of starts to cough again, if that makes sense.
Oh, some really other interesting questions here, like Tommy Nielsen. Did you have a flu shot before?
No, I haven't gotten a flu shot this year, unfortunately.
Okay.
I usually only got them for my grandmother, and she moved to Washington State last August. So
Okay. So she's in Washington State. Is she still there?
yeah, she's there. My uncle has been taking care of her, thankfully, and he stocked up on our house weeks ago. So she has like dry milk and everything she needs for a while.
Good. And is it? And you see, there's other questions. I'll just let you field them until you're tired.
Okay. Oh, I saw Tommy joined. And then the one before that, Glenn Mosier.
Right.
I did have headaches the first couple of days, but again, I usually get headaches specifically from concussions because I've gotten a lot of concussions, so I don't know if it was worse or better. And then Tommy Walker, headache, runny nose, aches. I have been getting kind of achy, but it's similar to just feeling in a general sickness. Like just kind of you can't, like, you feel gross, but you can't quite pinpoint what it is, if that makes sense.
Just a general feeling of sickness.
Yeah, besides the few very prominent symptoms, it's just kind of tired, kind of just out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you sound fine, but I can tell by your voice, though, that you're not your normal high energy level.
Yeah, it comes and goes. So if I move earlier, I was doing some cleaning and cooking just to try and keep the mess at bay. And then I ran out of energy pretty quickly.
So many more questions here. How much energy do you have? There's some
It varies. Yeah, it comes and goes.
There's a lot of good questions. I don't want to stress you out answering the questions, but there's some really good ones here. If you want to continue.
Yeah. Kirk Miyake asked if there's wheezing when breathing. Not really, no. I haven't really experienced that. That type A blood is more prone to contract this than type O. but I'm not sure what type of blood I have. I'd have to look. Don't be shy. John Jones said, "Don't be shy to have needs. We're willing to help." Thank you. I appreciate it. But hopefully I don't think it'll come down to that anytime soon. And then Tommy Walker asked, "How did I get the virus?" I actually came in contact with someone through after school program. So I shook someone's hand and they were tested positive. So
Just
yeah,
shook,
and
just
then I
shook,
got
just shook it was his or her hand, right? That was all. Were you,
yeah.
how long were you close to him or her? And how do you,
It was a few minutes,
right?
and I found out because it got posted online. Some of the people from that group, and then I saw who it was, and I immediately knew who they were. So, and then after that, I had to call all of my work and my doctor as well, which I'm still waiting on to hear back from fully for when I can get a test.
Okay. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
There's so many more questions. You want to keep answering? I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I think my computer may be lagging, so if you can see them quicker than I
Oh,
can.
okay. Let's see. There's a lot of questions here. I see Tommy saying, "I hope you can get better soon." Tommy's probably still in Hong Kong getting shot. He's a rubber bullet magnet. Let's see.
Yeah, those scare me a little bit.
Yeah, those things, they hurt too. I got hit. Let's see. Tommy got hit several times. I only got hit twice. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking. There was a couple of questions, but they've already fed up somewhere, and I'm not. Kim is saying, "I developed asthma about 6 months to a year after St. Helens blew. I lived in Spokane at that time, and we had major ash fallout from it. Mount St.
My
Helens is
grandmother actually lives in Spokane now. It's really far away from Mount St. Helens.
But Sam's asking if Maddie was in direct contact. Yes, she shook his hand, or his hand, right? Is a man or a woman?
Man.
Okay. Yeah, Maddie is describing what apparently is the COVID-19 or Xi's disease. I'm calling it Xi's disease. Wow, how do you feel getting Xi's disease all the way from Wuhan? You know what I mean? We're infected with them in every way. What's that?
I'm a little disappointed that I got it back in my own apartment.
Yeah, and you didn't get it in Hong Kong. You got it back in Colorado. Just think that one through a little bit, Maddie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it followed you home. Yeah.
I always joke that it followed me and that I was the one who brought it. But yeah, I missed it in Hong Kong by just less than a week, I believe, from when it was first there. So.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and, unless somebody has a very specific question, we'll go ahead and shut it off. And actually, and if you need something, I think a lot of people already know your contact now. If anybody wants to contact you directly, they know how to do it. And so you're in Denver right now. So you're way up at higher altitude too. I hope that doesn't have any effect. You're about a mile high up there, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, I was born here, so I've kind of gotten used to it.
Right.
John T. Jones asked if he was coughing. No, he didn't. He didn't mention anything about being sick or anything at all. So it was just kind of a good to see you handshake. Deb Deli asked if I take vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't take any vitamins. I was never a vitamin person.
You know, vitamin D might be helpful for this one in particular. Of course, you're right in the middle of it now. Vitamin D, sunlight, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to see if they even have any at the store. Everything's sold out here.
I'm going to send you a link. But so you can still get it sent to you first day service on Amazon. You don't need to go to the store. Don't go to the store. Stay home. And but you can. There's a lot of people contacting you about that sort of thing. Of course, you probably can order Amazon yourself, but if not, there's numerous people that have offered to help. But you could probably get it literally today or tomorrow morning from Amazon, because you're in Denver.
Yeah.
They probably could deliver to you within 24 hours. I'm sure. Vitamin D
Yeah,
though,
they're pretty quick.
I'll send you a link on vitamin D.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, I appreciate everyone being so nice and offering to help out. It makes it a lot easier.
If you want to come back on later and say more about how you're feeling, we'll bring you back on.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
When I say
I
we,
have
that means
plenty of
just me and
time.
my dog here. It's not like I got a whole studio filled with people and a producer. So
I
it'll be
do
like
love dogs.
Vicky saying vitamin D3. But all right. So good to go, Maddie. And I'll send you a message and I'll send you a link about vitamin D. And if anybody wants to contact Maddie, you can see she's her name is actually Maddie. Can you put your name up one more time and say this is Maddie on the call?
Yeah.
And then when I do go offline, your name will stay up there, so people will remember how to contact you. Sorry, I've asked you to do it 3 times.
No worries. Okay, I just went through.
Cool, there it is.
But yeah, again, thank you everyone for wishing me well.
Joseph,
It's been fun.
Joseph says she sounds super lethargic. Hope she is lethargic because I know her from the streets in Hong Kong and her energy was like 50% higher, much higher, like bouncing off the walls higher. Right. Let's go ahead and call it a day. Maddie, if you need something, you got a lot of people you can reach out to, including me. And I'm here at the end of a phone call.
Awesome. Wonderful. And thank you. Yeah, if you want to have me back on later to tell you how it's all playing out, I would love to come back. So it was good.
Great.
Hearing from everyone.
You too, Maddie. And we'll talk later. Be well.
All right. Have a good night or day, depending on where you are.
I'm going to send you a link.
Day.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. That call should be ended. I have got to send Maddie this link. Wow. She's really filled with energy. There's a group of us that have coalesced out there on the streets of Hong Kong, and Maddie was there as a human rights observer, and she was with the medics and the journalists and whatnot. So there's a whole big ecosystem there, and everybody looking out for each other. And so I'm going to go offline as well now too. I'm going to leave Maddie's Madeline Kelly there. I'm going to leave her name as the last one up there so that if you forget, that's it. And so I'm going to go offline. I got to continue to study. And actually, I'm going to go. I see it's very sunny outside. I'm looking at my cameras. And I'm going to go outside and walk in the sunlight a little bit. Everybody should walk every day and get you some sunshine and vitamin D. And we got a lot to keep talking about. And so I'm going to knock off for now. Mike out. End broadcast.